What's up, fam? Welcome to the Flow State Outdoors podcast.
And I just can't live without you.
What do you mean? There's fucking 2 Sheilas in the boat.
Listen to me every time.
Hit me when you're ready.
No, I don't know where we're going to fucking start. I had a heap of questions, but we covered a heap of stuff at dinner.
We did. We got a little carried away, but
It's always a bit risky, eh? Yeah, it's like catch up with someone before a podcast and you end up getting all the good stories before the fucking...
It was funny. This is our first time catching up as well, too. So, and we kind of jumped in as if I'd known you for 10 years.
Isn't it weird how that happens, hey, with like-minded people?
Yeah, and it's like through social media, I've chatted to you for what, 2 or so years now?
Yeah.
And you catch up and it's just like old mates or like normal. It's like, this is the first time I've actually met this human, you know?
Yeah.
And we just chatted as if we'd never been apart.
It's weird like that. I think, what do you reckon it is?
I think it's a societal thing these days. Like we feel connected through that social media and it's more normal than even seeing people face to face on a daily basis. You know, it's like, how many people do you speak to through social media every day in comparison to people you see face to face? You'd speak to way more.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like you end up having like semi-personal conversations with those people to a degree. I think,
for sure.
when it's not even at face value. And you might not even have similar interests.
100%. And I think that's how I've met a lot of my good, it is how I've met a lot of my good friends as well. It's like through social media, man. It's like I see these people a handful of times a year, but I speak to them on almost a daily basis.
All the time.
And when I do see them, it's like nothing's changed and it's all normal. But you don't have that physical contact with that person for months at a time.
And it's weird, hey, like I'm friends, like closer friends with people that I very rarely get to see but talk to a lot than friends I've known my whole life. And I don't know, I can't like attribute it to anything in particular. Do you reckon it's, this is actually the question I was going to hit you off with, was like, do you reckon it's like a growth stage? Like obviously yourself, myself and a few other people are committed to personal growth. Do you think that you meet those people and they just slide into the right slot in your timeline, and then the ones that drift off, like you grow the distance? Like, I can't explain it properly. Do you know what I mean?
I think the people that you grow up with or you've associated with from a young age or whatever that may be, I think that's more of a convenience thing because they're there in your immediate circle or vicinity. You know, they're people that you're interacting with by default because they're there. They live in your hometown. They're within that general scope of what you're doing. Whereas the people you meet typically through social media, they're people in circles or things of interest to you, like it might be fishing or hunting, and it's like you're only interacting with those people because you share that common interest, that common bond there. And I think it brings you closer together because of that common interest, you know, and it's easier to find like-minded people when you can link up with people from around the world, as opposed to there's only so many people in your hometown or whatever that you've grown up with that are going to share similar interests, if any, to you. And it's more of a convenience thing. So that's what I find, you know, like I don't have any, I don't think I have any friends that I went to school with that I still hang out with or anything anymore. I've sort of drifted into a new circle of people that I've found dotted across the country and the globe. And it's all through those common interests that it's drawn me to those people, and I've developed lifelong friendships through that. So I think that common interest and the ability to find people that are like-minded from you from a broader audience.
Well, do you think like, do you ever like think that person, like you look back at childhood friends or whatever and what they are now as adults and you're like, they haven't changed? Do you reckon it's your perception of them, or do you reckon they actually haven't changed?
Oh, I think there's a bit of both. I think a lot of people I went to school with have sort of just took the safe route and done the 9 to 5, get that house with the white picket fence type thing. And obviously I've taken quite a different path to that. So I know I've changed a lot and I've gone and tried to, I guess, broaden my horizons a lot. I don't know. That's something I don't think about too much, but I can see how a lot of people that I sort of grew up with have sort of, I guess, not stagnated, but also not thrown themselves in the deep end and haven't really explored who they are as a person or taken big risks in life or anything like that. I think a lot of people are like that in general, and it's not until like meeting like-minded people, whether it be entrepreneurial, whether you're into
Yeah.
hunting or fishing on a serious level, that you start meeting these people that are taking risks, they're pushing boundaries, they're trying to better themselves as a person. You know?
My take on all of it is like it's people that are committed to personal growth,
Yeah.
and it's not anything outside that. So like people that are like committed to money or committed to something external or committed to someone else, like fully committed to someone else, as in like living your life for someone instead of living it with someone.
Yeah.
Like people that are committed to that, you always end up like distancing yourself from them. So people that are committed to like retiring at 65 and owning their own house, no mortgage, and having 2 kids and the white picket fence story, I think they completely different from people like yourself and me, I think anyway, just in mindset. I think like if you've already got it all planned out, you've set your path, like not too early, but you've just set your path. And then
It's very hard to get off that path.
yeah, fuck yeah, it is.
And I think there's a comfort in knowing that. It's this, if you have that job and you rock up, you do your 5 days a week, you do your 48 weeks a year, you do that for the next 40 years, you pay off a house, you have that steady income. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but
Yeah.
how good's that light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Yeah, how big is it? And then like you look at that, people look at us and like, oh, it's but you're further down the road than me, but like you look at it and you're like, fuck, it's too risky, or like it's a scary.
Define risk though.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Define risk, man.
Exactly. It depends.
What I call risk, to me, risk is not trying anything. The biggest risk is not doing anything. Whether you succeed or fail, if you don't try, you don't know.
100%.
No.
And there's a fucking saying. What's that? You would have heard it, surely.
Risk it to get the biscuit. That's what you're going to say.
That'll do. That's close enough. No, there's an old as fuck saying, and it's about the man in the arena. It's a fucking whole thing.
Humour me here,
I read
come
it
on.
at.
Give me some wisdom.
So you obviously don't listen to my podcast, man.
No, I haven't listened to one episode. Full transparency here. I'll listen to this one.
Oh, you'll be one of like the 4 listeners that I have. No, I done one with Guthrie a while ago, and I ended it with this quote from Theodore Roosevelt.
Yep.
It's huge, so I won't read the whole thing.
He's a hunter.
He is. He
Good
is.
man. Done a lot of things for conservation.
I was about to
man.
say exactly the same thing. Like, yeah, he's all about, and he was like a pioneer of that shit and hated for it by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the whole text is a speech, and it's called "The Man in the Arena." But I'll try and find like a snippet of it where it's going to be fucking. I'll just read the first sentence. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man in the arena who is actually in. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood.
Yeah.
So like
The bloke who's had a crack.
yeah, basically, there's like huge similarities in that.
Yeah, and that's like going back to that statement there. It's like define risk, you know. A lot of people, like say we're speaking from an entrepreneurial perspective, you know, whether you're gonna find something and go, hey, I'm gonna try and make an income out of this. I'm gonna throw myself at this. I'm gonna pour some financial assets into it. I'm gonna dedicate some time, everything like that. Yes, that can all go down the drain, but at the end of the day, to me, money isn't real. It's a tool. It owes me nothing.
It's a byproduct.
It is.
Yeah.
I owe it nothing. And at the end of the day, you can be happy without it. But on the flip side, if you do succeed and you start doing something that you're passionate about, you're winning, you know?
Yeah.
And it was funny. I used to work underground in the mines. And I remember...
I'm just going to turn the fan off for you to tell that story.
No, right. I'll turn that off for you.
You got it? It's just that I thought it would be all right, but it's like...
Just as a PSA, he told me that fan was all right.
It was half all right, but then every few seconds it just go like...
Yeah, right. I was sitting in the heat. It felt good.
Sorry, you used to work underground mines?
Yeah, so where was I at? So when I was working in the mines, I started my first ever business, Ozcut Broadheads. I didn't start with the intention of having it as a business. I thought it was going to be a bit of a side hustle, side project that was a bit sort of cool, saved me working an overtime shift every couple of weeks, things like that. And basically, I come into a few roadblocks where there was at one point where I had to basically throw 40 grand worth of stock in the bin. It was like all my savings, everything I'd poured into it, and I had to throw it into the bin. And basically hit a bit of a crossroad there, and it was kind of like, what the fuck am I doing with myself with this? You know, I've just poured all this time, all this effort, all this money, and I've had to throw it out. That's crazy. I'm gambling here. What am I doing? You know, and I was like, what if this doesn't pay off? And I sort of had and this was a bit of a defining moment for myself, and I had the conversation. It's like, well, if I go all in on this, you know, if I lose everything that I've saved, all my time is for nothing, and this is all in vain, and it just all goes up in smoke. The alternative, if I fail, is I keep working the current job that I'm in. I was like, how the fuck can I lose if the alternative is what I'm doing now?
Yeah. If you're
I
already
can't lose.
failing, like, and it depends. People think of, and again, like an external thing. You're failing at life, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And it's like not owning a house or not having a bank account full of fucking money or a car or whatever.
Yeah.
That's, to me, is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
And that's just a like evil necessity.
It's the whole stereotypical life and living the, you know, like the American dream that's everyone's wanted to live. I think that's so ingrained in society, and people can't look past that, because from a young age, it's like, even in school, it's like study hard, get good grades, and you can get a good job, or it's like, or drop out and make something happen for yourself, you know. Like, just because you don't have good grades doesn't mean you can't be a successful person. Just because you don't have a university degree doesn't mean you can't be a successful person.
Yeah.
Academia doesn't define success.
No.
You know, it's, are you happy in life? Are you living a fulfilling life? Do you have time to do the things that you love to do?
Yeah.
To me, that defines success, you know.
Yeah.
Are you surrounded with the people that you want to be surrounded with? That's successful to me.
People forget the middle bit. Like, they go, oh, the end product is, we'll just stay on the American dream, the house is paid off and all that bullshit. But they forget the whole process.
Yeah.
So, like,
there's a lot of life in there.
Man, whole heaps. And, like, the struggles, the ups and downs of, like, running your own show and trying to, like, think outside the box and do different things. Like, that's character building. And it's like, you sit back and you're like, fuck, it's been a hard as fuck month. And I've, like, a mess.
I've done that a lot since COVID.
But then you get out of the other side of it, and then you have a good month, and you sit back and you're like, fuck, man, that was like hard. And like the feeling of like gratitude, and like you feel great about it because you push through.
Yeah.
And most people will quit, and they'll quit too early.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fine line, you know, like, if you keep just persevering, eventually you will start getting them wins, you know. Like, it's a cumulative process, and everything adds up. All those little 1% things add up, and you add to your skill set, and you slowly better yourself over time. And if you keep persevering, you're eventually going to win, you know. Like, if you keep putting yourself out there, eventually you're going to come up with a winning formula, and it's going to happen for you. Like, as I said, when I started Ozcut, I went to throw the towel in twice, and I'm so glad I didn't, because if I did, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be as happy as I am now, put it that way. You know, but I came very close to throwing it all in, because I'd lost all this money, and I was like, well, if I'm already down and the chips are down now, I may as well keep going while I'm down anyway, because it can't really get any worse.
Yep.
Stuck it out and started to get some runs on the board, started winning, you know. So and it's very hard to see past when you're immersed in that, when you're looking at it and it's all negative. You're like, holy shit, I've just taken this big risk and it's not paying off.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to see the bigger picture, and it's like, zoom out.
100%.
You know? Give yourself a couple of years either side and zoom out. You might be doing bad at the moment, but in the big scheme of things, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs on that road to success.
Yeah. And you cannot look short term.
No.
You cannot. Like, and that's like, I've preached on a few potties now, is like short term pain, long term gain. Like, you might make a decision that'll hurt you like in the immediate future, but then in like 3 or 4 or 5 years time, it benefits you immensely. But people make decisions based on right now, instead of decisions based on 5 years, 7 years, 10 years time.
Because it's easier.
Yeah. Comfort, man.
Comfort kills everything.
It's not existent though. It's not real. It's never permanent.
It's a mindset.
It's never permanent.
It's a mindset, man. You know, like, it's easy to do things that are easy now.
Yeah.
Because it's just there, and it's like, okay, I'll do that because it's easy now and I don't have to struggle.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we're like, the human condition, we're programmed to want to have everything as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Like, that's what our brain wants, everything to be easy. And I think that's programmed into a lot of society. And for you to go, no, I want to go on this, I want to struggle, I want to be out of my comfort zone, I want to do this. Like, it's almost illogical when you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to put myself through all this stress or take all these risks, whereas your body or your brain is like, no, don't take risks. Look after yourself and just be safe.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we're
The
programmed
human
to do.
condition. That I think it's kept, like, it's stuck in us since caveman days.
Yeah.
Because we just want the easy road because
Survival.
Yeah, because otherwise you get fucking eaten or killed by some other poor bastard.
Yeah, and I think we're basically
Nowadays-
here to survive and reproduce for the
Yeah.
next lot, you know?
And nowadays it's like your food comes to your doorstep. With the top predator, unless you go out looking for trouble, you're not going to pretty much not going to find it.
Yeah.
Unless you're very unlucky.
And you're going to live a very sedentary existence,
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah.
You know?
But we still chase that primitive, instinctive shit that's not truly applicable. I guess it helps the world go around, but it also keeps fuckheads in power.
Very true, very true. I think the way society's going, it's sort of like I lose a lot of faith in society with, I guess, just how it's going in its general direction. But it also, I think it gives me comfort in the fact that, like, the pursuits I'm into and what I'm drawn to, I think it gives me comfort in that. That sort of, like, everything I'm into has kind of like a primal drawing to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's the fishing, the hunting, the outdoors, all that
Yep.
sort of stuff. Like, that's sort of going against the grain of that everyone else is doing, you know? And
Yep.
I think that, to me, it's like, yeah, this is actually what I'm supposed to be doing, you know? Like, following
Yeah.
this path, and it feels so natural and organic to me.
Yep.
That's a big thing.
I think, how did you go, like, did you have a defining moment when you were like, nah, this 9 to 5 life isn't for me? Like, did you have a clicking point?
I had a clicking point that I wanted to have a go at. So, as a bit of a backstory, I started Ozcut Broadhead. So, for those of you who don't know, bow hunting, a broadhead is basically the tip of the arrow. You know, that's pretty well what does the cutting and killing of the animal, for the nice terms there. And I started making those for myself because I wasn't happy with what products were out there on the market. I knew I could make a better product. I wanted a superior product, and what was out there was too expensive and basically shit house. So I basically went about, started Ozcut, got them made for myself, and it slowly snowballed and gained a bit of traction. I had a really good product there, and people were like, hey, you should make this size, you should make this style. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll make these other models. And it slowly snowballed, and like I was moving a bit of product. I thought it was pretty cool. I was meeting people, you know, and you're doing something that you're passionate about. And this was before being an entrepreneur was cool. And
You're just a weird dude.
and, you know, I thought to myself, I was like, oh, this will save me from working overtime, you know. I might do 30, 40, 50, 60 grand a year and sell this. That's cool, you know, like this is awesome. Bit of a tax write-off, whatever. And I remember one day I was working out at Mudgee for a contracting company, and Mudgee was about 3.5 hours drive from home for me. And I'd got up at some ungodly hour in the morning, drive out there, and the whole company lost their job that morning. And I was kind of pissed off because I'd been there with them for, I think it might have been 3.5, 4 years. And I just lost my job at the click of a fingers. Nothing, no warning, no thanks, no nothing. And the fact that they made me drive out there, lost my job with no pay for that morning. And I was kind of like, why the fuck am I dedicating myself to someone else's company to make their money when at the end of the day I'm literally just a number on a sheet?
A number, yep.
And that day it sort of resonated with me. I was like, I can't and shouldn't do things to better someone else's bank account.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, the owners of that company, I'm making more money than I'm making myself,
Yep.
and they're not doing a thing. And that really struck a chord with me. And from that day, my whole mindset started to shift. That was
Yeah.
like the turning point. That was a definitive. It wasn't a moment where it clicked and went, "This is what I need to do."
Yep.
But it was a turning point for my mindset.
Like a slow build, and
Yeah.
it just starts burning until it gets like so hot that you can't handle it, and you're like, nah, everything else can get fucked. I'm doing this.
It got to a point. It was but that realization there on that day, I was like, I need to do something for myself
Else.
so this doesn't happen again. Because again, I thought everything was all hunky dory. I had a good paying job in the mines. So, and then all of a sudden you turn up one day, sorry, no longer required.
Yeah.
It's like, what about all the hard work that I put in over the past 4 years? Doesn't
Yep.
matter. Sorry. See you later. We'll give you a call if we've got some more work. And
Yep.
yeah, I'm so thankful that happened because to put me on the path that I am now, I needed that kick in the ass
Yep.
to happen to give me that shift in perspective. Because if you don't have that perspective shift, you're just going to keep going, oh, this is good. I'm rocking up to work
Yeah.
every week. I'm getting all these opportunities.
Yep.
You know, I'm furthering myself. I'm doing good. I'm getting a career. And look, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, you know, but
Yeah, 100%.
for me, once I got out of that and I saw what's actually possible and it's like I can make a living doing the things that I'm passionate about and that I'd want to be doing in my spare time.
Yeah.
It's like there's no comparison, man. And doing it on your own terms, that autonomy of being able to choose the time, place, the when, the where, the how that you live your life and you derive your income. Like it's powerful, man. Like,
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
And so rewarding, man.
Yeah.
But it's not for everybody.
No,
And it's not for most people.
It's
actually.
scary.
Yeah.
there's a lot of risk. And when you don't know where that paycheck is coming in from week to week, that it's not guaranteed, even if you put in the work and it's not guaranteed, like that's a scary concept.
Fuck yeah, it is.
And I think it's definitely easier to take that risk when you're younger and you don't have any dependents or anything like that. That's a given. And I can totally sympathize with that, you know. But if you're a person and you've just got yourself to look after, what's the risk?
100%,
You
man.
know, at the end of the day, you can go get a job anywhere. You can feed yourself. You
Yeah.
know, if it all goes to shit, you can feed yourself. You can get a job.
Yep.
You can figure it out. You can get back on your feet. But the autonomy of doing it for yourself and on your own terms, you know, it was like if I wanted to do something on a Tuesday, I'd go do it on a Tuesday and I'd make it up on Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Sunday.
Yeah, Monday to Sunday is just days. Hey,
Yeah.
it's so good. There's no like 5-day week and 2-day weekend. It's just Monday through to Sunday, and that's it. And you just make it work.
Yeah. If
And
you're
some-
being productive, you're being productive.
Yeah, and some days you might work 10 days straight, but you're also, it's not like, oh, I gotta get up and go do shit today. You're like, fuck, I want to get up and go do shit because it's my shit.
Yeah, it's funny, man. You know, like when I worked a job, like
Yeah.
a normal job in the mines, I'd look at the clock at the end of the day. I can honestly say to you, since I've started working for myself, I have not once looked at the clock to say, oh, can I go home now?
Yep.
Have I been here long enough? It's not about that anymore. I literally go to work for as long as I want or as long as I need to, but I'm not looking at a clock. I'm not wanting to be there. I'm there on my own accord. I'm happy
Yep.
to do so because if I wanted to leave, I could.
Yeah.
There's no one holding me here.
Yeah.
So that's something I think is pretty good. Like if you're doing a job and you're not looking at the clock,
Yeah.
you're doing the right thing.
Are you one of those people that need to balance? Like you have people like, what's a good example? Gary Vee.
Yep.
So Gary Vee, like his persona is like work, but he enjoys being busy and committing to all that shit. Are you one of those people, or are you one of those people that like you still need to do your day and have your full disconnect and do something else, or are you always like ticking?
I think I'm a bit of a mix. For me, it's like I'll work through till the next adventure.
Yeah.
Type thing. I don't need to disconnect at the end of every day. Like I don't need to turn my phone off and not
Nah.
think about it or anything like that. Like if my phone rings or something happens,
Yep.
I'll sort that out. Or if
Yeah.
I have a good idea, I'll action that or anything like that. I don't need to fully disconnect. I do enjoy the process. There are times when I don't, but I enjoy the byproduct, which is the lifestyle that it gives me, you know. Like one of the biggest things for growth within like my hunting businesses is me going hunting. Like that's one of the biggest driving factors of growth
Yeah,
we
well, people
have.
got to see you out using the shit.
Yeah, you know,
and trust it.
And so for me, it's like, oh, getting that content, going hunting, putting the brand out there. That to me is what I love doing and what I would do on my days off regardless. So I look forward to those adventures and I kind of work in between those, I guess. But it's funny, like I'm not a materialistic person at all.
Yeah.
Yes, having money is great. It allows you to do a lot of things. I'm motivated by time.
Yeah.
Time to me is everything, and the ability to do what
Spend
you want
it
on your own
well.
accord and make those memories, man. You know, I want to live my best life. I want to do as many things as I possibly can. So if the business allows it, I can go away hunting or fishing whatever day I want within reason, obviously,
Yeah.
and do that all year.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Like I really value being able to go and do things. Like that's
Yeah.
the big thing for me. Like doing things and living a fulfilling life. That's what I sort of work towards, you know, like, and there'll be times there where I'll work 14 days in a row and I'll be at work every day for 10 to 14 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll stay at home and do it. but it doesn't feel like work to me.
There needs to be a naming convention for it when you own your own. Well, then it's still, I guess, when you're like a big corporate fucking lord, like it's still work. But
yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't feel like work, you know.
No, it's
like,
not.
It's
not the right
just what
word.
you do.
Yeah, it is. It's not. It's definitely not the right definition for it if you're truly passionate about it.
Yeah.
If you're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, 100%. And the metric of success, again, like we spoke about before, like if you're just doing it for the dollar value, when things do go to shit, like the whole COVID episode we've just had over the last 2 years, like that's affected me financially massively.
Yeah.
You know, it slowed sales and production and all that sort of stuff. If your metric for success is financial, well, then you lose, you've got nothing else. So if you're losing financially, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing it because it's what you're passionate about, you might be going or having a hard year or two financially, but you're still doing what you love and you're still happy and you're content doing that. So you're winning at the end of the day.
Yep.
You might not be killing it at the bank, but you're happy.
Yeah, and that's at the end of the truest saying ever said is like you can't take money to the grave.
That's right.
It's not worth fucking nothing.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't cash your time in either.
No, you definitely can't. And that's the sobering that's the shit that scares me.
Yeah.
Like do you ever look back and go like, oh, fuck, I wish I started earlier and all
All
this
the
sort of
time.
stuff? Yeah.
Every day.
Yep.
Every day.
And like you start feeling like, oh, I should be here or I should be here. And I feel like if you look at that the right way and don't let it get you down but turn it into motivation, I feel like you get like another boost.
I think that's a kind of a double-edged sword. Like I've been looking at that lately myself as well. Like I sort of set a few goals, or not goals, but where I wanted to be with the businesses by the time I was like 30 and things like that. Like I'm 28 at the moment. But I think COVID put a big dampener on that, and I'm sort of not taking that into consideration. Like the last 2 years have just been treading water for us, in a lot of regards.
Yeah.
And I think I look at the trajectory we had pre-COVID versus COVID, and I'm like, man, like I was doing so many things, it was happening so fast, and now it's slowed right down. I'm really hard on myself, but I also look at it from another perspective, and it's like how many businesses closed down and unfortunately couldn't make it through the whole COVID thing. It's like I could have been one of those statistics, like all the boys that depend on us for an income, they could have been out of a job as well, It's like, so I am fortunate that we weathered the storm, and we might have slowed down a little bit, but we're still doing a lot better than a lot of others as well.
Yeah.
So, I am hard on myself in that aspect, but then you sort of zoom out and you go, oh, this is where I come from. And, and you just laugh and you go, wow. Yeah. If I knew back in 2013, 2014 when I started, I'd be here now, like I wouldn't believe myself.
Yeah. It's weird, hey? Like, but you look at it like short term, you're like, fuck, I should be here, or like I should have done more. Why isn't this working and shit?
Yeah.
And then you go, hang on, like look at who you were as a person.
Yeah.
Because I think that changes immensely when you start down this entrepreneurial, like, especially people that start from scratch.
Humbles you a lot.
Oh man, especially people that start from nothing and try and build a brand or culture or anything or community just from like zero.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's hugely like life-changing shit in a very short amount of time. You don't realize how much, like, I think it's progression. Well, for me it is anyway. Personal progression happens in like, I don't know, like I've been doing it for like a handful of years, and like the amount of personal growth that I've had, like I look back and I don't even like who I was. Yeah. 3-4 years ago.
That. Yeah. I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't know that until you've changed as well.
Yeah.
Like you put yourself out there and you've grown with it.
Yeah.
I see that massively. Like the person I was 10 years ago is not a shadow of what I am now.
100%.
Like with the emotional intelligence and everything like that. And I think a lot of what causes that is, I think, the fact that you have to just drop your ego and just accept fuck-ups.
Yeah. Humility is key.
Yeah.
It has to be key.
That's one thing that I have with my business partner, Will, is like we just say just drop the ego and just put your hand up if you fuck up.
Yeah.
It's the best way forward. It's the best way to
It's
improve.
clean cut, man. Yeah. Because then you can look at it for what it exactly is and try and make things to fix it, instead of like trying to figure out who's lying and what the actual problem is and spend all this fucking time and energy trying to like nut it out, when you could have just said, this is what it is and it was my fault.
Yeah.
And,
you know in yourself when you've fucked up. When you've done something wrong and like you're trying to, and I always say, this is one thing I like to say, if you have to justify something to yourself, you know it's wrong.
Yeah. 100%.
If you need to justify something to yourself that you already know deep down is wrong or right, you already know the answer there.
Yep. And I think it's a lot of people don't ask for help.
Yep.
Or ask other people that
it's
have.
hard, man.
Yeah. because you feel like I'm a fucking big man, I'm gonna do it myself and all this sort of stuff. But then there's people there that have tread a very, very similar path that are a lot further along and have like advice to make you not do your ass or help you to not make bad decisions, and that are willing to help you and wouldn't even hold it against you or
and even just on
on
like a personal level as well.
Yeah.
Like I think it's very hard to put your hand up and say whether you're struggling or I fucked this up or I need advice, you know, like that's admitting it's like seen as weakness, you know, but who cares? Like we all have problems. We're all people at the end of the day. And like, if you're going to ask that person for that or whatever, they probably genuinely care about you, you know, if they're in your circle, you know, and people are going to want to help. It's just very hard to get to that point that you can put your hand up and go, hey, I've done this wrong or whatever, because it's admitting fault of your own that you're in charge of.
Yep.
You know,
that's another whole monster in itself too. Like finding the people that that you want or that are in your circle that are the real ones, like the ones that actually truly want to see you succeed. Yeah. Because there's everyone that pretends. There's heaps of people that want to pretend, but then
I've got heaps that want to see me fail.
Man, oh yeah, there's heaps of that.
That's a big circle, that one.
That's easier though. That's cleaner cut because you know.
Because you know.
Yeah, you know. But it's the ones that are in the circle that you're like fucking. Do you like?
Are you actually clapping?
Yeah, and like there's like a few red flags that pop up, but then it's not enough to call someone out on and stuff. Like I'm not talking about a specific person or anything, but just in general. And I've seen it and had it happen to me and seen it firsthand that like it ends up costing you big time, like emotionally and money, time, could be anything. And like you spend a lot of time almost like grieving for the loss of that person when you got to let them go. It's hard letting people go from it too. Like when you know you've outgrown them, or not even that, just the gap's gotten further apart. Yeah. And you have to like cut them off.
My circle's like a square, man. It's that small, honestly. Yeah. Like I was only talking about this the other day. Like the core group of people that I have in my life that are like really good people, it is so small, it's ridiculous. You know, like there's a handful of people scattered across the country that I know have got my back. They're like true friendships that are lifelong friendships. Yep. And I'm okay with that though. Yeah. Like you don't need 20 people as close friends or anything like that.
You don't need to talk to them the ones that get this is the ones that annoy me, is the ones that have to fucking like get the shits at you for not being in contact like all the time. And like you could have picked up your phone and rang me, cunt. Like fucking that shit pisses me off. And the fact that it's even an issue in the first place. Yeah. Like I've got close friends that I might not talk to for 6 months. Yeah. Then the friends that understand the actual amount of time that you have to actually just gas bag and chin make about stuff. And the ones that respect that are the ones worth keeping.
Yeah. Me and the Doomsday brothers are so good like that. Like I'll screen James's calls for 3 weeks straight and then we'll have a good catch up. But you know, like, and it's like, I feel guilty at times, like when you see the phone ring, it's like, fuck, I can't do this. And it's like, if I answered every call, it's like I just don't have the time in the day to do that. Yeah. But it's like also, please don't think I'm trying to ignore you.
Yeah, it's not that you don't want to talk to them. It's that when you pick the phone up, you're guaranteed on there for an hour.
That's right.
Talking shit about stuff you like. Yeah. But it's cost you time when you like. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
There's time and place.
Yeah. Yeah. Time. You got to be strategic when you get in this sort of game. You got to be strategic about it.
I do feel bad, and I think there's been 1 or 2 times like when, like there was at one stage there, and particularly leading up to like busier hunting times, like my phone and across all the social media pages we have, like they blow up with messages. And it's people wanting advice and like gear and setup and buying things from us. And that's great. Like that's what we're here for, here to help, you know? Yeah. And I remember one day I physically in my, like just my DMs, there was over 120 conversations I had with like 120 different individuals, full conversations, not just replies, like full conversations about gear, setups, whatever like this, just on my own personal page, let alone the brands. Yeah. In a 24-hour period, and there was people like sending me personal text messages, and I was just ignoring them to get back to everyone. And it got to a point I put something up. I was like, hey guys, like if you're reaching out to me and I'm ignoring you, like I apologize. I'm not trying to do it. I'm just swamped at the moment. Yeah. Like I'm trying to do the best I can. Yep. If there's something you really need, obviously I'm here for it. But like I still do love yous all. It's just I'm trying to prioritize my time as best I can. Yeah. And things get crazy like that, and the good ones understand.
Yeah. And the rest just fucking delete. Yeah. Right. I've just started just unfollow, delete, block. Anyone that even starts carrying on, I just block. Like, don't, because even like you try and like swing them around and stuff like that. And all you do is spend more time, more energy, and then you take it home and you got the shits about it and it's like plays in your brain for ages.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is I just fucking shit can them and just be done with it. Because
Yeah.
if you've even thought that in the first place and you think that I'm that kind of person, then you don't even know me at all.
Yeah.
My biggest one is like a very similar thing, like because I don't have half as many followers or businesses as you, but I still get I've got pretty high engagement, which I think is pretty cool. Like everyone must like the stuff I'm doing, but I get heaps and heaps of messages and from friends as well. And then you're doing something and you open it and then you read
don't
it
respond.
just to see if it's like someone's died or it's urgent, like you need help or whatever, and you just check it.
Yeah.
And then you put it down, and because you've read it,
Seen.
it's been seen, and then you forget about it because it's not a freshie. And then you come back and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go through and check everything and clean messages out or whatever. And you open up and you're like, fuck, I haven't got back to that person in 3 weeks, and just said g'day. And like you sort of I don't know how to fix it, to be honest. I try and lately I've been trying to sort of, I've distanced myself on social. I'm still active, but I've distanced myself off it for like the cloudy side of social, like the bad side of social media. Just being silly on there and stuff, and just dedicated like an hour or two a night and just scheduling posts and replying to messages and everything like that.
My mantra with it all is create, not consume.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like share your stuff on there, put out what you want to put out, but like I'll try not to be like there's a part of like what I also need to be current and understanding of what
the market
and everything out there and just people and the sense of community, like and I do try and follow that, but also I try not to just mindlessly scroll through social media just for the sake of it on my personal page at the end of the night. You know what I mean? Like it'll have purpose what I'm doing a lot of the time. Like, obviously I'll have a scroll or whatever, but it's to give me a better understanding or idea of what's happening or whatever, and I have my finger on the pulse of people, like I try and engage with our followers as best I can, and like I'll try and speak to people, see what's happening, all that sort of stuff. But as far as like a mindless scroll through just random reels on Instagram, like I don't do that. No. And if I find myself doing it, I'm like, stop, what are you doing? So that's a big thing for me, to like create, not consume, So I think we get caught up in it a lot. Like so many people, man, will just scroll Instagram as opposed to like watching TV or reading a book nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people will scroll Instagram over like,
talking to a real human. Like,
yeah.
Going out exercising, shit like just.
That's a radical concept now, isn't it?
Oh man, that's a whole nother topic. Actually, we should cover that too. I've been I'll just sidestep for a second, but like studying a heap of like Andrew Huberman. Do you follow him at all? So he's
like create, not consume.
No, he's like he's a good type of consume, like an educational consume. Delves into like human like brain chemistry and stuff.
Yep.
And like brain states and things like alpha, beta, everything like that.
Yeah.
And it's shit like you wake up in the morning and you grab your phone and you lay in bed and scroll Instagram or whatever, that it puts your brain in a certain state and releases like micro dopamine hits. So like you subconsciously just keep scrolling and you're like, I've been here for 40 fucking minutes. That stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But it limits your alertness and shit for the rest of the day in like an alpha state. Like you bypass alpha state, and alpha state's the priming of the brain to sort of, I could be talking out of context here, I'll probably get someone to pull me up on it, but like the priming of the brain. So like get up in the morning, go out and get some sunlight, exercise if you can, shit like that. Yeah, so like.
It's super interesting, all that stuff as well, just like how daily habits can literally dictate how your day or your month or your year or your whole outlook is going to look.
I went proper down the rabbit hole to try and optimize time. Like to try and to clean out all the unnecessary shit in my life. And that was one of them. Like I've been doing heaps of reading. I fucking hate reading books, but like spent heaps of time reading books on like mindfulness, motivation, why we do what we do, why we think the way we think. And even reading shit that's like old shit, like who we were 50, 100 years ago and why we thought the way we did and everything like that.
Did you find that helped?
Heaps. I've cleaned up, like I never thought, I used to hate like routine, but it's super necessary within reason. Like a good solid routine and like just simple shit like optimizing your sleep, Optimizing.
Big fan of that.
Yeah, optimizing. Yeah, like because I was off sleep. Because when I started this, I was like, no fucking sleep.
Yeah.
Hustling only, and like hustler's mentality shit. Which is fine. Like I still have times where like I've got to grind and I can't afford to sleep right now enough, so I've just got to put in the work. But then I'll like have a day a bit quieter and I'll just cruise and like try and recover a bit. But yeah, like optimizing sleep and getting the most out of your day, like exercising well, eating well, all that. So I've always eaten well and I've always exercised, so it hasn't been too hard. But doing it strategically, and then yeah, sleep was a big one. Deep sleep. So I end up doing like
sleep.
REM's dream, isn't it?
Yeah. That's your rapid eye movement sleep.
Yeah.
Where that's basically where your body's recovering at a cellular level. Yeah.
You need a minimum of 45 or 50 minutes deep sleep a night too.
Yeah.
And that's what I wasn't getting. So I was like waking up constantly fucked, partially because of like blue light at night time and shit like that.
Cortisol levels.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So you've been reading too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like
got a supplement company, bro.
yeah, yeah. Well, you
Need to know.
True. Even just simple shit like I've been preaching about it a little bit. A book called Atomic Habits.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, okay.
It's about.
I'm actually not a reader. I
Me
know I
neither.
should be.
Me neither. Force yourself.
Yeah.
Spend like go instead of like when you get to bed, just do 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it ends up becoming routine. And you end up getting through a book pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm a super fast reader. Like it's,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be hard for me, but it is something like over the past couple of weeks I've been saying I need to read books, I need to do this, just to sort of level up.
I strongly dislike it, but I force myself to do it.
Yeah.
And that book's about like small incremental changes.
Yeah.
So whoever gets home first from the gym of a night, because I train jits or MMA, boxing and shit, and I don't get home till like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. As soon as I get home, I've got a section of lights in my house that are set just to warm settings, like super warm. So I turn them on, turn all the white and blue light off, and just have like floor lamps and shit around the house. And I just operate in that fully, like to the point where I've turned my shower light right down to warm, super warm, and have a shower at nighttime late.
Sounds pretty romantic, bro.
It's fucking wild, eh? It's wild. You'll feel all sorts of things if you come and visit.
Yeah. It's funny with that sleep optimization. That's something I'm really big on as well.
Yeah.
Because like you say, you want to be like you were talking, you want to hustle for like 18 hours a day or whatever, or you want to work to your optimum. It's like you physically can't work to your optimum if your brain's not working. If your brain is a potato, you're producing shit, basically.
I got to the point where I was like seeing things, like full army spec sleep depth, like full like in the middle of the night, like thinking there's fucking shit, editing mostly, editing videos, and sitting there like thinking that I'm fucking seeing things out the window and all sorts of weird shit, and getting to the point where I'm like going to tie my shoes in the morning. I'm like, how do I tie my shoes?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, like verging on burnout or
So
dying from it.
I'm massive on getting proper sleep, man.
Yeah.
Like I'll try and prioritize to get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep, 8 hours sleep if I can every night, because the difference is night and day, whether it's your energy, your mood, your total power output for the day, your cognitive function.
Yep.
You are a different human when you have proper and good sleep, Like one of our supplements that we do with Primabolics, it's called Restore.
Yep.
And like I'm not like my business partner Will, that I can rattle off the whole chemical breakdown, everything like that. But basically Restore is just all herbs and adaptogens. Like it's a natural product, and it is designed to modulate cortisol levels. And cortisol is your body's stress response hormone. And that's pretty much what keeps you awake at night.
Yeah.
And stress can be factors, whether it's physical stress or mental stress.
So does it promote melatonin as well? Or like, does it? Because I know cortisol cancels out melatonin production, doesn't it?
I'm going to say yes, but also don't get me too technical on
Me
this.
neither. I could be talking at my ass, but I think it does. I got a funny feeling I read about it.
But basically,
it does.
modulating your body's cortisol levels, right? So if your cortisol levels are elevated, and this goes back to like primitive times, right? So you're in a state of stress. You're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, right? You're stressed as fuck, and you go to sleep in a cave. Your body is it's stressed. Your cortisol levels are through the roof. You're stressed. Your body's in flight or fight mode. You go to sleep, right? Your body's not going to want you to go into a deep sleep, because you need to be able to wake up at the drop of a hat.
And run like fuck,
at any noise or anything like that. So you're just going to go into light sleep. So if you enter or go to sleep whilst you're stressed and those cortisol levels up, you're not going to go into deep sleep or REM sleep. You're just going to go in and out of light sleep, and you're not going to really
Restore yourself.
Yeah, you're not going to restore yourself. You're not going to wake up with energy. You're going to lay there and just not die, essentially. So that's what it's linked to back in the primitive days. So like if you're stressed out, and modern life, man, like it's stressful in all facets.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. It can be mental or physical.
Yep.
You're going to bed when you're stressed. You're not going to be getting that restorative sleep, which is what you need. And like if you're not getting proper sleep, man, that's like carcinogenic. Like that is
you die from it.
That is proven to give you cancer. You
Yeah.
know, like over the years. Like if your body's not fixing itself at a cellular level whilst you're sleeping, that's what it does, you're going to die young.
Yeah.
You know, and also you're not going to get the most out of your days when you are awake. Like the difference for me is night and day. Like Restore's just capsules I take before bed. And I used to be the lightest sleeper, man. Like a moth would fly past down the street and I'd wake up, you know, like I'd toss and turn all night and like I'd be in and out of sleep. With these, man, I'll have 8 hours of deep sleep and wake up before my alarm ready to go. And if I don't take them, it's like, fuck! And I'll get up in the night and take them, you know, because I'm not a good sleeper. You know? And the difference is night and day. But that's one thing I really prioritize, and like I really urge a lot of people to do is like prioritize your sleep, because you're going to be a better person for it.
100%.
You know, you might lose an hour because you sleep more, but you might be 4 times more productive for the 8 hours you do work. And it's just, and you'll feel better and you'll live longer. Why not?
I reckon 100% onto it. And I recommend like people fully do like start studying their sleep, because you think, oh, I was in bed and I was asleep for 8 hours.
Just because your eyes are closed doesn't mean
shit.
Yeah.
I reckon like go and buy, even if you can't like afford a high end watch, go and buy like a fucking one of them Fitbit bands, like the cheap $89, $90 ones with the app and shit that can do full sleep tracking. Get that, because that's what did it for me. I got a Garmin watch and I started looking at my sleep and I was getting like really poor deep sleep. So then I started obviously researching, and because I'm just like that, down the rabbit hole I went, and I ended up getting a sleep study, like a sleep apnea test done, strapped all that bullshit to me and had a night's sleep. And I've never been a good sleeper anyway because of combat sports. Like I can't breathe through one of my nostrils. I've got a narrow palate and fucking scar tissue everywhere and all sorts of bullshit goes on. So I think I have like breathing issues.
Yeah.
So like there's points there where I was stopping to breathe in the night time, which obviously restricts blood flow to the brain. And then your brain goes, fuck, I need to breathe, hits you with a big shot of adrenaline. You don't wake up, but hits you with a shot of adrenaline, and then you like cough or like go and then that adrenaline
takes you out of your deep sleep.
Yeah, it takes you out of your deep sleep. So yeah, all that sort of shit was happening. So then I was like, I'm trying to avoid, I haven't got bad sleep apnea, I've got like really mild stuff. So they're like, oh, you can try and optimize your lifestyle, or you can just go straight on a CPAP machine. And I was like, well, yeah, I may as well try and optimize my fucking lifestyle first.
Things that are in your control.
Yeah. So obviously like I've fucking got a proper mattress study done. Fuck my mattress off, got a new mattress, new pillows, then all that warm light shit, and then spent like, because I get home at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I try and like, it's not ideal, but I have to eat to obviously recover properly. Yeah. Muscular recovery. So
you die if you don't eat.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I try not to go to bed on a full stomach, but the way I train, I sort of have to. So I like eat a reasonably lean meal and then having like a 45 minutes an hour wind down to fully get like melatonin build up before I go to sleep. And I found like that made a huge difference in my sleep. And I get like a minimum 45 minutes now a night of deep sleep, and like
I thought you were gonna say minimum 45 minutes sleep.
Oh no, there's been nights, but nah. Of good like quality sleep, and I wake up feeling a lot better. Yeah. Every now and then I have nights where it's a bit fucked up, or like alcohol's a bad one. Like people think like alcohol.
It is poison, bro.
It's fucking bad.
Literally is poison.
Yeah, I like a bit. I like as much beer as the next bloke, but drinking, I barely drink much anymore at all, and I don't drink during the week or anything like that. But that is one thing I will tell people is like having beers and thinking, or whatever alcohol you want, and thinking that it makes you tired and makes you want to sleep. It puts you to sleep. Yeah. But it gives you...
And then your body has to process alcohol as opposed to prioritizing your sleep for 4 hours, and then you'll get a couple hours sleep.
100%.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Caffeine's another one, because I'm a fucking coffee nut. I quit coffee after 12 p.m.
Yep.
And even because I'm a person, I can have a cup of coffee and I can go to sleep half an hour later. It doesn't bother me at all. But the quality of the sleep was affected. So I quit coffee after 12, caffeine after 12.
Well,
basically.
that caffeine is a major catalyst for increasing your cortisol levels.
Yeah.
It's a stimulates your central nervous system.
Yeah.
You know, so like if you're having caffeine, coffee, Red Bulls, whatever it is, like later in the day, you're obviously stimulating your central nervous system, you're elevating that cortisol levels, and your body doesn't have as long to regulate that back down before you're going to bed.
Yeah.
And getting yourself in that amped up state going to sleep.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
How many coffees a day would you drink normally?
Used to 5 to 7 cups, which is terrible.
Yeah, so that's like 420 to 500 megs, half a meg of caffeine
Yeah,
a day. So
terrible.
it's about 80 milligrams of caffeine. In
Yeah. To the point where it's like toxic for your body just about. And then I've gone back to like 2 cups now.
Yeah.
I have a double shot in the morning and then, so 3 technically, if you want to be technical about it. So 2 to 3 cups a day, but all before 12. I have one like as soon as I get up and I normally go for a run, do some sort of exercise.
But you're pretty active as well. Like there's
Heaps,
a difference.
yeah.
There's a difference. Like there's a difference between sedentary and being active as well with what you're putting in your body. Like,
Yeah. Have you found exercise helps heaps?
massively.
Yeah.
Mate, it helps with everything.
I sleep better when I do exercise.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you
Yeah.
do. Like I think exercising and just being fit and healthy makes you feel so much better as a human as if you don't. Like I was only speaking to someone the other day, sort of giving them a hand with a bit of like diet advice and exercise, just wanting to lose a bit of weight. And they were commenting, they're like, man, I've only just started doing this the last couple of weeks, but they're like, I've got so much more energy. I've never had this much energy in my life and I'm doing more. And it's like, yeah, man, like wait till you like really get into it. You'll feel way better.
You're training your body out of being a fucking sloth.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I like this.
I find that if I sort of slack off it for a while, I feel like shit. If I'm not pushing myself on a regular basis, I feel crap.
Yeah.
I lose motivation. I feel sluggish, and you just lose your mojo, I guess. And when you're pushing yourself, doing all those things, being active, it's your body is just so much better off for it. And also, I think your brain as well, like that.
Yeah.
Mental side of things is so much clearer for you. You know,
Shit,
it's just so many positives to being an active person
Yep.
that aren't just physical health related. You know, it's like that mental health side of things tenfold. Like we see
Yep.
so many people struggling with mental health. It's like, have you tried going for a fucking walk?
Yeah.
Have you tried just fixing your diet a little bit, and
Yep.
you might find a lot of your problems will disappear.
Yeah.
And
100%.
in the modern society we got, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of it, and like this is obviously there's people with problems, whatever, but a lot of basal issues can be fixed with general health.
Yeah.
You know, prioritize your health.
Simple decisions.
Drink
Even
more water, sleep better, do some exercise.
hydration is a huge one. People don't realize like how much of a fuel it is
Yeah.
for like mental alertness, for
Fuels
like,
your brain, man.
Yeah.
And we're made up of 70% water.
Yeah, people forget that. Hey, like
Yeah.
I have that's another routine thing that I added in is like I have a 2-liter water bottle beside my bed every night full. I have a fairly decent swig to a point where like I've got it sort of worked out where I don't piss myself and
Yeah.
have to wake up in the middle of the night and break my sleep and go piss. But I have a decent swig in the nighttime, and then in the morning before I do anything, I have to drink that water.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I take that bottle and I walk outside, and I think that I don't know about the sunlight thing. I haven't been able to confirm whether it's a real thing or not. But apparently, like immediate, like when your body's starting to wind up through alpha state, going out and getting immediate sunlight.
It's sunlight on your pineal gland.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's
so sunlight on your pineal gland basically encourages your body to wake up and will start producing cortisol, which is energy production within your body. So that's in your eye.
Yeah.
It's called your pineal gland, and basically sunlight on that. Your pineal gland regulates like daylight and nighttime. So once it gets dark, it'll elevate those melatonin levels and everything like that.
Yeah.
Drop serotonin levels and vice versa. So
which is what the blue light problem was.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah,
at
that's
night
right.
time you're looking at your phone, you're like your body's saying, "Oh, time to wake up."
That's right. Yeah, you're looking and your body's saying, "Oh, well, the sun's out. We can't be going to bed just yet. It's not
Yeah.
time." Yeah. So that's exactly what that's linked to.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and then I forced myself to drink that water, and then once I do that, which feels a bit shit like going for a run after it, but I put shoes on, go for a run or exercise of some description.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fucking helped me immensely.
I always try and drink a liter of water fairly soon when I wake up in the morning, because I know like your body's dehydrated when you wake up.
Yeah.
And I'll try and drink a fair bit of fluids in the morning. I'm not nothing to that level, but that's something I do as well. Like I'll try and drink a liter of water sort of like fairly immediately in the morning, and I find it definitely does help. You know,
I had to commit to like just forcing myself to do it, like to go out and just do that.
Yeah.
Because I'd sip it and I'd put it down, and then I'd go for a run, I'd come back and I'd forget about it, and then I'd eat breakfast, and then it'd still be sitting there on the bench before I went to work or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got really strict with everything, and I think it'll end up getting to a point, you know, when you like develop a habit, and it'll get to a point where I just do it
just
without
part
having
of
to
your
think
daily
about it.
routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's like too much water. Probably is, but I'm like, seems to be working so far. So
Whatever works for you, man.
yeah. What do you like on simple carbohydrates, like fucking breads and shit?
I will eat them. I try not to.
Yeah.
But I'm the type of person, like, my output will always be high.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'll train 7 days a week, and if I'm not at the gym, it means I've gone hunting in the mountains for 2 or 3
Yeah.
days, which is one of the most physically
Eating
taxing
tins of
things.
tuna.
One of the most physical taxing things you can do, you know.
Yeah.
So I do try and eat well. I try and monitor what I'm putting in my body, but
Yeah.
I also won't shy away from foods that taste good when the time's
Yeah.
there, you know what I mean? But
You
like,
still have to
man-
be able to live. Like,
yeah, like, man, like I wouldn't have like up until like it's just been Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like the 4th of January or something. Like, fuck, I had so many sandwiches over
Yeah.
the last week. But before that, I wouldn't have had a slice of bread in fucking 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't miss it or anything like that. I wasn't
No.
starving myself from it. It just wasn't part of my daily diet. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I do eat well, but also like I don't shy away from it. Like if I go out for dinner, it's like, yeah, I'm putting my hand up for dessert.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 100%. You still got to eat that as like eating now is a social thing too. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like eat to survive anymore.
Yeah.
Not for
We
a lot
eat
of-
to feel good.
Yeah, like I'm talking about like first world society here.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's other countries that are doing a lot tougher, but for us, like yeah, it's not a super necessary thing of survival. We eat way more than what we actually have to.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, it's more like a social thing.
It's a pleasure thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Do you find how are you with may as well stay on diet or exercise, like people that are like can't fucking control themselves? Like
Yeah,
I
but-
find a lot of people like I'll buy a block of chocolate and I'll put it in the fridge and I'll have it as a reward. Those people fuck up all the time. Whereas you just shouldn't buy the shit. Don't
Yeah.
buy it, and then you go, fuck, I've had a good week this week and I'm walking past 7-Eleven or whatever the fuck, I'm gonna go buy a chocolate bar. Sweet as.
Yeah.
And then you eat the chocolate bar, and then you get home, there's no more fucking chocolate.
Yeah.
Same as like people that have one beer and they got to have 6.
Yeah.
Like, how do you find, or what could you say to them? And I don't have the answer, but like, what could you say to them to like, to like quit that shit basically?
I think for me, like I just don't buy the things that I know will lead to that. I guess like if like,
Do you think they don't want it as bad? Like they say they want it, but they don't actually want it that bad?
I think it's just almost habit as well. And it's your
Yeah.
brain going, I need this because it's there and this is what I do. Like with me, like, I don't know. It's funny. Like I am a sweet tooth and I will eat things, but I don't eat it as a treat or to reward myself or anything like that. I think I'm in the state that if I want something, I'll have it, but I also know the implications of it.
Yeah.
But I also know before I've even had that, I've definitively earned that with the amount of output I've done
Yeah.
that week. So I think it depends on what situation you're in. Like
Yeah.
if you're training, you're exercising, you're doing everything, you know it's not really going to hurt you
Nah.
when your output is that high. And I don't think me personally, I don't see it as a reward or anything. It's just I'm having this because I want it and I can.
Yeah.
It will fit in my diet. It's not going to make me unhealthy. It's not going to do anything like that. But when I think you put it on a pedestal as a reward or something, it's
Yeah.
like something that you're craving so bad. It's like, I want this, and then you want more and more and more because it is a reward. And I think that's a very slippery slope.
100%.
Oh, just one more slice, or whatever. Next thing you've eaten a whole block of chocolate.
Yeah.
So every time you get a block of chocolate, you got to eat the whole thing, you know? So I don't know. It's a hard one. I think it's very independent on the person that's
Yeah.
doing it and their mindset as to why they're eating it as well.
I think it's in general, it's breaking that habit thing too, those small incremental changes. Again, like
Yeah.
just don't buy it. You
Yeah,
can't
no,
have
that's
it.
the easiest part. Just don't have the shit in your house to eat, and
Yeah.
then you can't physically eat it.
Yeah.
You might have cravings for an hour, but go to bed.
Yeah, 100%. Just have a gut full of water and go to bed.
Yeah.
Or like,
couple big breaths. Have a
yeah,
sleep.
if you can't control yourself, like walking it through, I'm talking to people who live in cities, so it's a bit one dimensional. But like, if you're in a city and you're like, instead of walking through fucking Woolies and you walk past the chocolate line, you always throw a bag of chips and a block of chocolate in, order online, get it delivered to your house.
Yeah.
Like, that's just an example, and pretty small amount of people, but still, like things like that, simple, small changes that cost nothing.
Yeah, but I also think on the flip side of that as well, man, it's like just fucking have a lifestyle that you can do that.
Yeah.
Like just do a bit more. Like like what I see with a lot of people like trying to lose weight or everything like that, they're always trying to cut back their calories. It's like, fucking increase your output.
Yeah.
Do more.
Yeah.
Do more and eat more. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll have a higher base of muscle on your body as well. And you're going to feel better and you're going to look better.
Yeah.
Don't starve yourself. Give yourself more fuel and physically do more.
Yeah.
To me, that's the better approach.
100%.
Do more,
and
not eat less.
Yeah. End up at like just focus on calorie deficit.
Yeah.
There's a million apps you can put in now that you can find nearly any fucking packeted food you can buy anywhere.
Oh, literally. Everything. Yeah.
And do a calorie count.
But also, I think one of the things, and this is something particular that I've seen from the supplement side of things, is Will does a lot of seminars, right? And one of the major things that people struggle with losing weight is they undereat. And they're starving their body, so therefore their body is physically holding on to every single calorie it gets, and it's not wanting to let go, and it's slowing that metabolism down. It's like you're just running in limp mode, whereas if you're giving your body the appropriate fuel you need and your body's firing on all cylinders, it's like, I'm getting energy, let's go. Let's burn calories. Your metabolism's working as it should be. That's a big problem in society is 100%. People physically undereat. Like you speak to a lot of people, they go, I skip breakfast, I have a coffee, then I'll have a packet of chips for lunch, and then for dinner I'll have a fucking chicken nugget and a piece of broccoli. And it's like you've had a bit.
But then your energy levels are like, I'm doing it by hand, but like up, down, up, down, up, down. And like that's where you get those arvo lulls, like at 2 p.m., 3 p.m., those lulls after lunch, and you're like, fuck, I feel like dog shit. And you like go, I'll have a coffee. And then that, obviously the chain reaction, like you get poor sleep that night and shit like that. Yeah. Or you have a massive fucking dinner and you're holding all that shit in your guts because you're starving. You're holding all that shit in your guts and then you go to bed.
And have a shit sleep.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Like it's all linked, I think.
And I think as a society, man, like I think we're very undereducated on our bodies and like what we need to do to operate efficiently. Like people who go and get like medical advice about like losing weight from doctors and that, like, and this is
I've seen fat doctors, man. Like,
but like they get fuck all training on nutrition and the body and everything like that. Like, yes, they're medical doctors, but as far as like nutrition and things like that and hormonal things, like they're not very advanced to where they should be in this modern society and what they know, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing as well.
I think, and you can go like by general rules of thumb because everything's it's super personalized. So like what works for you might not necessarily work for me. Even like you could have a twin brother and you could be completely different about how like what your input, output, intake is and all that sort of stuff. But one big thing that I've sort of focused on is like clean food. So like not heavily processed stuff. So like try and go as least processed as possible.
Little amount of barcodes in as possible.
So like obviously you've got fruit and vegetables and shit like that. Wash the fucking pesticides off them and eat them. That's as clean as it comes within reason. And then, like meats and things, be smart about where you buy it from or what it is. So it's not full of steroids and nonsense. Yeah. Whole grains and stay away from like processed sugars.
Yeah, the less processing in it, the better.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty simple.
Saturated fat or trans fats and shit, salt and sugar. Yeah. Like look at the back of the fucking packet and it's got shit tons of that. Avoid it to the best you can because there's always sugar or salt in something. But yeah, and I think like you're on track at least. Yeah,
for sure. It's not hard to like live within reasonably healthy confines these days. So like it's not hard, but it's easy not to.
Oh, it's way easier not to.
Yeah.
Because what's a fucking, I don't even know. What's a Macca's burger cost? $4, something shit.
Yeah.
$5.
Well, here's the thing though as well, right? So I was speaking to someone the other day. I was like, what do you have for breakfast? And they're like, I have a bowl of cereal. Send me a photo of the packet. It's 20% sugar.
Yeah.
I was like, you're literally eating 20% sugar for breakfast. And he's like, wow, when you say it like that, that's fucked.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man. But you think because it's got dried fruit and nuts and some whole grains and shit in it, it's healthy. Like,
it doesn't
it's healthy.
I argue with people that flat out, man. People think that, it's got this in it, so this doesn't matter. It doesn't cancel itself out. You fucking clowns.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And people don't realise like dried fruits and shit, they're good for you to a degree.
But they are sugar.
Full of sugar.
Sugar is sugar at the end of the day.
Yeah. Because they've fermented themselves right down.
Yeah, yes, there's differences in like refined sugars and where it comes from and everything like that. But at the end of the day, your body is still processing sugar.
Yeah.
Calories from sugar.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's just like what's fruit, like more broken down, or
And
whatever.
it has more macronutrients in it
Yeah,
as well.
that
Like
sort of
there is
shit.
positive to it, but like if you're eating 20 grams of sugar, you're eating 20 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
You can't get around that.
Nah.
You know,
100%. Oats, man.
That's
Oats,
it.
Oats are the money. Oats and blueberries, a little bit of honey if you can, and that's it.
My go-to is oats, 2 bananas, 2 scoops of protein, sometimes some frozen berries in there in a shake. Every morning.
Yep.
It's like perfect.
Yep.
So good. So good.
Do you fast?
No, not really.
I do every now and then. From boxing and stuff, I've cut weight and done all that sort of stuff. So I'm pretty savvy with how, like, what I need to do to cut and what time and stuff. But I started fasting. I don't do it as much anymore.
What
but
period of fasting you doing? 16 hours or?
16 and 8. So 16 off, 8 on.
Yep.
I've done bigger ones, but I found that was just like the minimum to hit.
I tell you what, I
ketosis.
have been dabbling in it a little bit of late.
Yeah.
Like I'll wake up and I won't eat till 2 p.m. or something like that. And
Yeah.
I'll do that like once every fortnight or something like that. And I
Yeah.
do find I feel better for it.
Yep.
And I know there is a lot of underlying benefits to that for your gut health and
Yeah.
things like that. But it's something I probably want to do a little bit more. It's just I haven't done it, but it is something I am aware of.
Yeah.
And like I'm also not feeding myself from sun up to sundown either.
Nah.
That's a big one. So I am cognizant of it.
Yeah, I started it because like I just started reading about it. You know, when it started to become like people started talking about it, I was like, oh, I'll see what it's about. And to be honest, like it's dog shit for like a week or two.
Yeah.
Awful, because I think your body's just not used to it.
And it all depends on your metabolism as well.
Yeah, 100%. Because I was exercising too, which hurt. Yeah. But then most of my exercises started at nighttime. Then like I changed all my routine around and then started doing them at nighttime. So like I'd eat my dinner at 4 p.m., which was when my fast would end or whatever it was, and then I'd train, so I was energized, and then stop eating in the morning or whatever, or like because sleep counts as a part of the fast as well. So it ended up like being like felt really clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I sort of I don't know. Then I started doing like sometimes I'd train 2-3 times a day, all that sort of stuff, and got like right into it, and then I couldn't fast because I was like exerting too much energy and I was just flat when I was training. So then I started like obviously having I like do you eat like big meals a day, or I have like 5 or 6?
I go through stages, man. Like sometimes I'll have 3 big meals, other times I'll have 5 smaller meals. Like I don't have that much structure with it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, and it comes down to the same thing that you were saying. It's like, you know, you're burning like 2,500 calories a day or whatever, training or whatever you're doing, that, you know, you can't input enough to for it to be detrimental anyway. Yeah. And if you eat clean enough and then train enough, it's like, it's pretty clean cut. Yeah. People make it out like it's this big hard thing, but it's not that hard.
No, it's not. I know within myself where I'm at regardless. I've never tracked a calorie in my life. I've never done anything like that. I've never been on a diet as such or anything in my life. I'll just... You know in yourself where you're at, up and down, you know.
You know when you feel good and you feel bad, and you can, if you're cluey about it, you can think back and figure out what it was.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Most of the time.
When I'm hunting, like in winter when I'm hunting a lot, like that's when I know like I burn a lot more calories.
Because you're cold, because your body's trying to warm
and
yourself.
just walking a lot more.
Yeah, true.
Like doing a lot more cardio there. It's funny, like I was hearing you saying like I go for runs and stuff, like I'd like to classify myself as being like a fit person. Like I'd put myself right up there. Yeah. Like when I go for a hunt, like if you're gonna match it with me step for step, you're doing well. Yeah. Do no cardio, bro. Yeah. Like none.
Yep.
None.
It's because it's the match fitness thing, man. You're exercising specifically for the purpose of what you're trying to be fit for.
It's so hard to replicate.
Impossible to
so
replicate.
Hard to replicate. Like the only thing that comes close to it that I will do is I'll do the stair machine at the gym. Yeah. So for those of you who know what a stair machine is a fucked piece of equipment. Like it's the hardest cardio you can do in the gym. And I'll get on that and I'll put one of my backpacks on. And I'll put a 15 or a 20 kilo weight in the back and do it with that. And that like simulates walking up and down mountains. That's if I've got some big hunts coming up or whatever, or I haven't been hunting much, I will do that. Yep. But to replicate it, like I could go for a run and like most people would smoke me. Like just doing a 5 or 10K run, you know what I mean?
Have you seen some of Aiden's times?
Yeah, he's
ridiculous, man.
He's a freak.
He's basically sprinting for 5 kilometers.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Insane.
But like in the mountains, it's like, let's go for a walk. You'll watch me. You'll be behind me the whole time. Yeah, you know, and it's so different. Like walking them mountains with a heavy pack on type thing. And I think it's just what I'm conditioned to do. And
Yeah.
replicating that is like
It's applicable.
it's
And because
almost
you do it
impossible.
frequently enough.
But
it's
I think a
applicable.
lot of it, because it's like steady state as well. Like it's just 1 foot after the other.
consistent.
It's like it's mental.
Yeah.
Like it's such a mental grind. You know what I mean? Like it's just you got to be uncomfortable in it, but you're not going to die.
Yeah.
That's my mantra. You know, like
I agree 100%. I enjoy running. It's
I
my
don't.
don't you?
Fucking hate it.
It's my thinking time, I love it.
It's rubbish. Rubbish.
I tell you what, though, like I'll respectfully disagree with the stair machine. Oh, maybe not with a pack on, I suppose. That's probably different. I'll respectfully disagree with the stair machine. And
You can say assault bike, aren't you?
man, they're filth.
Yeah, they are.
They're filth.
They are. Yes, yeah.
20 on, 10 off, and you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, they are brutal. Assault bike. We'll give you that. We'll give you that. But like normal cardio, walking cardio,
Yeah.
can't beat a stair machine, man. Can't
No.
beat it.
No.
They are brutal. Like, and they're always free. No one uses them. They're always free.
There's always free assault bikes too. Yeah, I do a lot of I don't do a lot of like lifting, traditional lifting shit.
Yeah.
I do like dynamic stuff, kettlebells.
Yeah.
Like chin ups with weights and shit like that. Battle ropes, all that sort of functional stuff. And then assault bikes and bits and pieces.
I'm like
machines.
polar opposite, hey.
You and me with exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you're like a bench press fucker.
Yeah, fucking love it. But also, like, I think I'm like very functional with it as well.
Oh, 100%.
With what I'm like.
I'll probably have to start doing it now that I'm going to get into this bow hunting stuff.
A little bit. It's funny, like, you look at people like CrossFit's more functional and everything like that with the movements and everything. But, like, to physically be better at CrossFit, you need to do, like, bodybuilding style exercises to build the strength to do that. Like,
100%.
it's kind of so strange, hey?
Yeah. Well, that's what, like, I think of it as, like, I reference bow hunting then, like, okay, I go and do it up north. Most of the ground's flat. Then I go, I get an invite from one of you cunts to go, let's go to New Zealand.
Yeah, get
I'm
ready
like,
to die.
Yeah, or we go and shoot an elk or whatever it is, and then we've got to pack it out. Like, I've got to be able to pick that shit up and carry it for a long period of time. Like, I feel like that's where, like, weightlifting and stuff like that and strengthening core muscles like that you need is, like, valuable. It makes sense.
I think so to an extent, but, like, it's all your mindset, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, like,
I train like my fitness to bash people.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
like, if you've got the mindset, like, I think the hardest thing with hunting the mountains, man, is the terrain with temperature.
Yeah.
Like, harsh terrain with cold temperatures, like, it's a shit place to be in.
Yeah.
Like, it's unforgiving. It's
You
harsh.
get hit with that sleety mist rain.
It's
nonsense.
uncomfortable. It's slippery. It's like it's not. You're not meant to be there, you know. But having a good mindset is what will get you through, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in some hunts, and it's just you hate it.
Yeah.
Like, it's obviously being up north is hot and everything like that, and it's very uncomfortable. But the ground's flat.
Yeah.
Like, one step is one step. You
Yeah.
know? Like, in the mountains, man, whether you got to cross down into a gully up another ridge and it's like up and down, and it's slippery, you're falling over, you can't feel your fingers, like it's -8 degrees in the middle of winter or whatever, and you got to sit out there in glass all day,
Yeah.
you know, and just literally just stare at the side of a mountain in just these shithouse conditions. And like, when I'm doing it at the time, like half the time it's like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, you hate it at the time. Like, it sucks at the time, but you remove yourself from that and you go, I really love this. Because the moment you step back, you step off that mountain and you get back into your creature comforts, you get back into your home, whatever, you
just
go
want to get
home,
outside again.
and you go, I want to go back out there and do that again. So you
Yeah.
have to, like, think of it with that mindset,
Yeah.
and it all becomes okay, and you sort of embrace that suck.
Yeah.
But like,
Embrace the suck. Where'd that come from?
someone's,
It's a
everyone
movie.
says it.
Yeah, embrace the suck.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing.
But yeah, man, like, I know it's not for everyone hunting the mountains. Like, it's hard, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard going, you know, like, particularly, like, I chase a lot of boars around, and a lot of people don't rate them. And I think they're a bit naive for doing that, because people say, oh, they're just a pig, they're not very smart. It's like, well, actually, no, they're probably smarter than those deer that you literally call into 5 yards during the rut. You know, it's like you look on social media, right? And I'll probably get roasted for this, but how many big deer do you see get shot in the rut every year? Fucking heaps. How many proper big boars do you see get shot out of the mountains in winter? Fuck all.
Yeah.
But they're there.
Yeah.
They're there. It's just you can't call them in. They don't have set habits.
No.
They're on the move all the time.
It's normally poor light.
Yeah, they live in the shittest conditions. They're nocturnal, so you get like these tiny little windows.
No, I'm not giving you a trigger. I'm just scratching my head.
And they're super hard to find, you know? So it's like, I look at that and it's like, to me, like that's the ultimate challenge, you know? Like, with a deer, it's like he's in a gully grunting. Oh, there he is. Yes, hard to hunt still, obviously, but like Keith, the big buck that you can see on the wall that we shot with James this year, that was a hard hunt and everything, but he's there going, hey, I'm here, motherfuckers. Yeah. This is where I'm at. Like, unless you get rutting pigs, which is it's not rare, but it's not common, they don't give themselves up, you know? So, like, finding them is half the battle. They're always on the move, and they've just got so many factors that work against you as a hunter to hunt them that, to me, that makes them like the ultimate animal in the hills. And they're tough as shit as well. Like, you have to hit them so good. Yeah. You know, like, the difference between an 80-kilo boar and a 100-kilo boar when you're hunting him is night and day. Like, they're two different beasts altogether. Like, those proper big mountain boars.
Old ones with the big pads, man, and you can fit your hand up under their, like, elbow.
100%. And, like
a rhino.
Like, I've seen, like, some boars get hit and lost, and it's like, if that was, like, a normal-sized pig, you would have got him back from that shot. But those, like, big old boars, like, they are so tough, man. You have to do everything perfect to get them back. Yeah. Like, in that unforgiving country. Yeah. You excited to go for a walk in the mountains one day?
Man, I'm hell keen. You're
going to pick your bow up here tomorrow.
I do.
We're fixing it up.
I'm looking forward to it, that one hunt I did with Aiden was the tipping point. Like, I've always been interested in it, but I've had so many much other stuff, and, like, obviously I'm a fisherman, like, die-hard fisherman. So it's always been off to the side. I've always enjoyed hunting. It was always fishing and a bit of hunting. And I used to hunt. I've hunted with rifle, and I've hunted with dogs and shit for pigs and all that, but never proper bow hunted. Shot bows, but never proper hunted. And then got to meet the twins. And
who's the favourite? And why is it James?
You can't pick one, hey? Because like,
he's better looking. That's all I'd say.
He's got bigger pecs than Aiden.
He does. Aiden looks like the Liver King.
The Liver King.
Haven't you seen the Liver King?
No.
I'll have to show you later. Everyone knows Liver King.
Right. I'll have to suss it. Yeah, and I got Aiden invite me out for a hunt, and that just set it in concrete for me, because it was just like so out of our depth. Like, you don't realize how disconnected humans are from nature until you're actually out in nature, and you got to take into account, like, hunting with rifle and shit from 150, 200 yards is complete. It's not even relatable. I don't think.
Call it shooting with a rifle if you want.
Shoot. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. That's probably, it's completely different. It's not even comparable at all. In my opinion, it's not anyway. And then hunting with dogs, the dogs pretty much do all the work. It's different. Again, but bows is like...
It's intimate.
Man, and you're taking into account, like, wind, noise, birds, man. Birds, like...
They fuck you up so much.
Bad. Yeah. Real bad.
Little apostle birds.
And they follow you around.
Yeah.
And, like...
So for people who don't know, like, you'll have apostle birds,
happy jacks, whatever you call them,
flying around, alarming, letting all the other animals know. And if you're not knowing what they're doing, you're just going to walk around unbeknownst that these birds are following you around, going, "Hey dear, there's a fuckwit below me walking around, run away." Yeah,
you've literally got to just sit there and wait till they fuck off.
Yep.
It, like, that sort of stuff was like, I was like, holy, this is awesome.
So many layers to bow hunting. Yeah. So many layers.
Yeah. Even like just shit. I haven't done a lot of pigs, but like, not with bow anyway. There's the deer stuff that I had on that trip was like one slightly different noise that's just not quite natural. You'll just see them all just prick up. Yeah. They don't necessarily run away straight away, but they're like alert and start. Yeah. You can see them like start that like wind trying to take like smell and or they'll reposition and all that sort of stuff. And then while we were walking with Aiden, he was like explaining their behavior and stuff like that, like how they like a stag will like bed for X amount. Then he'll get up and stand and stretch and shuffle around a bit and go and check on the ladies and then come back and lay in a different spot in a different way and like all of that sort of stuff, what they normally do, what their behaviors are and stuff. And I thought, like, you've got so much to understand before you can even get in anywhere, even start stalking them and understand. And then Aiden let me stalk it with just a camera because I wanted to get some footage and some shots of them. And I was telling you before, like, I got into like 30 or 40 yards before. I think they heard me more than winded me, but either way, they fucked off. But like, just having to think about, like, I was fucked from like thinking about where I was standing, where I was stepping, listening, smelling, like all that sort of shit. Like you're just so immersed in every part of your being. And I was like, fuck, man, I'm doing this for sure.
It's awesome, man. It's funny, like we were talking, like the hunting that Aiden does, and this is up north for chital deer, is very methodical. It's very calculated.
Yeah.
It's played out on a very slow burn. You know, like there's the deer, have 4 trees in between me and them. They're there for the next 5 hours. How are we going to do this, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas like the hunting I do is in the mountains, and it's all or nothing, fast paced, one and done in a couple of minutes when the time comes, you know? Like you were saying, like you're watching these stags and everything like that, and it's like I'm lucky if I see the animal I'm going to shoot for 2 minutes before it all happens, and I've got to make everything happen perfectly in that time and read the wind right in different gullies with different thermals and everything like that in like steep mountainous country.
Yeah.
That it's just all over the place, and it's like you've got to put yourself in the right spot. I do a lot of glassing, so I'll sit across one side of the mountain to the other where I sort of know that they're going to come out. And a big boar will come out and it'll be 10 minutes before it's dark, and you've got to haul ass down one side of a mountain, up to the other, anticipate where he's going to be. He's going to be on the move
constantly,
flat out.
Yeah.
And they're switched on, man. Like you said, this is one thing I wanted to bring up as well. So for those listening who have hunted, right, you step on a stick or something with a deer, right, they're all going to prick their ears up and look around.
Yeah.
That's a chance.
Yeah.
You do that with a boar, he's gone.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? So deer have the senses that if there's something foreign or they sense a bit of danger, they'll prick their ears up and they'll look over and they'll go, what's that? And they've got the eyesight to pick it out, or the curiosity, whatever it is, and they'll have a look most times to see what that danger is. A pig, he'll go, I don't have the eyesight to see what that is. I'm just going to bounce.
Yeah.
Like if you fuck up, he just goes, nah, something's wrong.
Not right.
I'm just going to bail anyway.
Yeah.
And he might not run away, but he'll trot off at a pace that in mountain country you cannot keep up with him anyway, and he'll just go. Like there's no second chances with him. You can't get, like if a bird alarms or anything like that, he'll just go.
Yep.
He's not going to stop and have a look, and if you're sitting behind a rock, you'll get away with it. He's just going to go.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with boars. Like there's no second chances.
I feel like you're like super, like people have given you a fair bit of heat about this over the years.
They do.
It's fairly contentious,
it's like go shoot a 30-point boar out of the mountains and come tell me how easy it was. It's like I dedicate thousands of hours to it, and it's like I know how hard they are and how smart they are.
Yep.
It's like that buck's in the top 10 shot in Australia, the one I'm pointing at this year. I think it was like 253 or 254 Douglas points, which is an absolute fucking monster. And it's really one of the first years I've hunted fallow.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it was a hard hunt and everything like that, but like I know how much harder I've worked for boars.
Yeah, okay.
And like they're my thing.
Do you think people that say deers are better or harder, whatever way you want to put it, haven't hunted
100%.
a lot of pigs or any pigs?
100%.
Yeah, okay.
Or don't.
Or don't target specific.
They go, I've shot pigs. And it's like, what have you shot? Have you shot juvenile 2-year-old boars?
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of shooting a spiker or a first-year head? Yes. Have you shot a boar that's 8 years old or physically hunted for one that's 6 to 8 years old and is smart as fuck? It's like, no, you haven't. And there's a big distinction between a pig and a wise old boar, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because they're just so hard to find, man. Like people think they don't exist. And so if they shoot pigs, it's always young ones a lot of the time. And they go, oh, there's dumb. It's like, no, you shot a young one.
Yeah.
You haven't seen the old one that lives there.
Not big 'cause
He's
they're
still out
stilly.
there. You just haven't seen him.
Yeah, and then normally, like we were saying at dinner, like I used to do a lot of walking with dogs and hunting pigs, and it's sort of different. But my dogs are pretty well trained, and they just sort of stay a meter or two in front of me. And dogs, if the wind wasn't right or whatever, you'd see them before the dogs did, because dogs obviously see in black and white, lower to the ground, and operate on movement or smell more than anything else. So if your dog couldn't smell them and you seen them first, you'd normally see the mob first, and then if you sat and just watched for a bit, you might see the boar, and it'll be like somewhere else. It'll be up the bank out of the, because I walk a lot of creeks and stuff. It'll be up on the shoulder of the bank, or it'll be further back or whatever, or you'll go there and your dog will grab a pig, and then you'll see just whopping great big tracks around it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like,
That's what
100% you're right.
I say to a lot of people, like, they'd be like, oh, I seen this mob and it had a decent boar in it, blah, 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 and I went in and shot him. It was half an hour before it was dark or whatever. It's like, yeah, good. but sit off that mob until it's 3 minutes from dark, and you'll be surprised what rolls out of the thick stuff. You know, like so many times I'll be watching mobs of pigs, and there'll be a boar with it that, in a lot of people's eyes, is a shooter. You know, and I'm like, to me, it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to shoot him. And I'll watch and wait, and you'll think it's too late. Then all of a sudden, massive big boar will just roll out of the thick stuff with like a couple of minutes of light left, and it's like, if you just went in and shot that smaller boar, you'd never see that old boar come out. So that's the difference, you know. Like, you've really got to reserve yourself and wait, because they just don't show themselves at any time. Like they really don't want to come out in the daylight. So there's pigs there now, but it's like, wait, see what's going to come out when it is dark.
And that's half, I think, what I like about it too, is like nothing like is ever guaranteed, and it's you might do 50, 100, fuck knows how many hunts before you even get a chance to even get near it or even see it. Like, you know, it's there. But that's what I think I like about bow hunting, is the whole process of it all and the reward of it all. Like, I can hike and I can shoot a deer or whatever, or a pig with a rifle from 200 yards, and it's like from probably where you glass from, I could probably hit a pig from, maybe. But and it's not the same reward, I don't think. Like, you shot it. Because
there's so much of the hunt that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry
so
about
much more work, man.
So many more factors, you know. When you're sub 50 meters, sub 30 meters on an animal, there are so many variables that can get you in the shit, you know, whether it's the thermals, whether it's nose, whether it's the bunch of eyes on you, all those factors. Like, everything is physically working against you, you know, when you're in there. Like, it's so intimate, it's so close. And a lot of the time, like, it comes down to the wire, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just in your mind, it's just like screaming at you, like all these things you've got to think about, but you have to be dead silent, dead calm, and make calculated decisions at the time while your heart is just beating through its chest. And you've got to make all these logical decisions whilst not being detected.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
It's hectic, man. And it's one of those things, and I think I attribute a lot to fly fishing. It's very similar. Like, you go out, it's not as physically demanding. It's maybe not as mentally demanding. It's close, because you're thinking about, like, a perfect fly fishing day is no cloud, no wind, and the correct tides and correct water clarity all together.
Yeah.
And that, to line those four up is almost impossible. So you're working with, you'd probably go out on two of those. Out of those four, you'd probably go fly fishing if you really want to do. So, like, you've got to work that, and you've got to understand how to read weather and all that sort of shit. And you're working out fish patterns, because shit like permit and stuff run a single line, basically. Once you find them, they'll run a line nearly 9 times out of 10 if you can find them there. Then you got to work out what tides they're there on. Then you got to work out, when they run that line, where they feed, or are they feeding the whole time, or are they stopping at a certain area and feeding, all that sort of shit. And then or everything else, like positioning and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of similarities, which is why I think I'm addicted to fly fishing, is because it's so fucking hard, and it's so much more to take into account, because I could probably go there and see a permit and have a live crab or a live prawn pitched in there and catch one. Piece of piss. But it's not worth that one permit. Like, I would take one permit on fly over 50 permit caught with a live crab.
It's that reward.
Yeah. And that's where I think, and that goes back to business too. I think very, very, very similar. Like, you've got to go through and put in the work and spend the time. Like, if I give you 100 grand right now and you went and started a business, it'd be cool. But I reckon that you wouldn't get as much fulfillment out of it. Whereas if you had the idea yourself and started with $0 or $50 in the bank account and built a business from that.
I also think it wouldn't give you as many tools along the way that you learn as long. Like,
so you might spike and be successful for 2-3 years, and then you don't have the experience during the hard times to be able to get through that.
Yeah.
And then you taper off and go bankrupt, or something happens like that.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I think the process in no matter what you're doing in life is more important than that end result. And it's like, the end result's good, but it's like, when you really dissect it and take it back, whether it's fishing, hunting, whatever, it's that process that you're immersed within business. And it's like the whole game is the reward as opposed to the financial incentive, which is just part of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's all encapsulated in one.
Yep.
You know, so
Do you do you think that you've justified that your belief in like big old boars being like a pinnacle or the pinnacle of bow hunting? Do you think you've justified that by your experience hunting other species? Let's say in Australia.
I think you're always going to. I think there's going to be a pinnacle. Like, I wouldn't say they're the pinnacle. I'd say they're
underrated.
I'd say they're very underrated. I'd say for the hunting around here,
Yeah.
between them and red deer would be my favourite hunting. But it's what I've drawn myself to the most.
Because you're local?
Like, I could go hunt boars up in the Cape, and it's still not like hunting my boars in the mountains. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. But what I like with it, and I think this is what it sets it apart from a lot of other styles of hunting, is it's so fucking physically demanding. Like, if you are not super fit, you are not going to shoot boars out of the mountains.
I always took you for one of them David Goggins motherfuckers, eh?
And not quite, but
Close.
yeah.
I feel like you're one of them people. I picked it from like a fair while ago, I reckon. And just like, this is the first night we've ever met, but I picked it from a fair while ago that you're one of those people that like to test the mental through the physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, it's fucking hard, man. Like, a lot of the times, like, I'll find myself, like, I've near spewed, like, going on, like, you'll sit on one side of a mountain, right, and there'll be 12 minutes of light. A ball will roll out at 7:24 p.m. and you're like, it's dark at 7:40.
Yep.
You know, it's like, he's a K away.
Yeah.
I've got to get up to the other side of the mountain, up this ridge, do everything right, have my shit together to make a shot, have my heart rate out of control, and I've also got to go fucking up however many 100 meters of elevation. And it's like, you are literally running, your blood is boiling going up there, you know, like, you're physically just exerting yourself massively to get up there, covered in sweat, everything like that. And like, you really have to push. You have to push for it. And it's like, if I don't push myself now, there's no light in 5 minutes, I don't have this chance. And you really have to push and push and push and push. And it shows how hard you can push yourself for it.
Oh, man.
And I know a lot of people would just go, oh, it's too far away, it's too dark, I'm not going. Like, with me, 99% of the scenarios, I'm going and I can make it.
Well, what if it helps you close the distance? Like, what if you go, oh, you're sitting up on the hill and you're like, oh, I'm not going to bother. Or you start running and then
you can always try.
Yeah. Yeah. And
no harm in fight.
There might be a 0.5% chance you might get that. You might get a shot or see it or find it where you think it's going to be. But then that, even if you don't get to take the shot or whatever, or you might pick up something along the way that adds to your experience bank to put you better off the next time, whereas you're sitting on the hill going, nah.
I always look at it, it's like, well, if I go, it's just adding to my fitness. I'll be able to do it that little bit quicker next time, you know? It's like, you roll that dice every time, but like, that's what I like about it, man. Like, it's very physically demanding, and like, a lot of people struggle with it. Like, I've guided people and it's like, this is like really physically demanding, and like, and this is not to take away from people. I've enjoyed guiding a couple of guys that gave it their all, you know what I mean? It's a very physically demanding hunt, and I say that. It's like, we'll literally be running up mountains. Like, you'll think this is crazy and dumb, but this is what works, you know? Like, you've got to cover ground. And like, I've been carrying guys' bows and packs for them, running up the hill, holding their hand, like trying to drag them up the mountain. It's like, come on, like, we've got a couple of minutes to make it happen. You can't sit down and rest after, you know what I mean? And it's like, guys that really try and push themselves out of their comfort zone. I've enjoyed guiding those guys. Like, obviously slower than me, and I'm going to be going, hey, come on, helping them up the mountain. But like, guys that want to push it, I've really enjoyed that. But I think that's what the allure to like mountain hunting is for me. It's like, you can't just sit there and just look at him and go, oh yeah, he's going to bed down there. I'll tiptoe in. I'll wait till everything's right. It's like, you have to make it happen, and you've got a very small window of time a lot of the time.
And the fitness is the difference between whether it happens or not. Can be.
It is. Fitness and your mindset with it. Like, if you, like, fuck, man, like, there's so many times when I've been, like, going up the side of a mountain, it's like, I could sit down and have a rest for 2 minutes. But it's like, just don't. Just get up there. You're not going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like shit when you get up there, and your heart's going to be beating out of its chest, but you're going to be up there. You're going to be where you need to be.
Yeah.
Because if you're not there in 5 minutes, that animal's probably moved on through, and you're not going to be able to see where it is because of how the terrain is.
Yeah.
And that's very specific to the block that I mainly hunt. It's very, very steep, very mountainous, and you can't just sort of walk along and come onto pigs because it's too steep. You don't have the visibility.
Yeah.
But you can spot them from the other side of the mountain. So that's why I do it. And then you've got to cover all that crazy distance. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's like the physical side of it for me is definitely one of the big alluring factors there.
Yep.
Because it's so hard and like so many people don't want to do it as well.
Yeah. Like they think it's like, oh,
Fuck that, basically.
yeah, fuck that. It's like not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's everyone's perception is different, I suppose. But yeah.
And define like it's like what is worth it to me versus them. It's all different every time. Like I love the whole process of it. Like for me, hunting boars in the mountains in winter doesn't get any better. Like it's hard as shit.
Yeah.
And it's super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
While you're doing it, like you're out there in like sleet and rain and snow and just like you can't feel your fingers and like everything's hard to do.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much, you know, like, and I can't even describe when I'm out there why I love it, but you throw all those things together and it's just like,
That's the thing too. Like who gives a fuck?
yeah.
Like you've got no obligation to give a shit about what anyone thinks.
Oh, that's
about
right. And it's, if there's an activity that you find and it just keeps dragging you back into it, fucking keep doing it.
Yep.
Like don't question why, just do it. If something makes you happy, just do it.
Yeah.
That's something like one of the things in life that I'd almost call it one of my best and worst characteristics is that if something makes me happy, I'll just blatantly do it.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to justify it. I shouldn't justify it, and I'll just do it. Like I'm all in or nothing with almost literally everything I do, whether it's businesses, friendships, relationships, whatever. It's all or nothing for me. And like, why would I do something with 50% effort? It's not worth doing.
What's the point of it? Yeah.
That's the point. Like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to commit to it 110% and give it my all. And I think that's what I'm like with everything in life. It's just ingrained in me. It's who I am. If something makes me happy, I'm going to pursue the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
What's the point of chasing something that you're not?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Or just half doing it. Or if something makes you really happy and just going, oh yeah, I'll sort of pursue this a little bit and maybe I'll, It's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like if something makes you happy, like chase it.
Yeah.
Do it to the full extent.
Yeah. Or you if you're going to dabble and go like, I'll dip my toe in.
Yeah.
Try it. And then if you enjoy it, dip a bit more in. And then you get to the point where you're either going to commit to it or you're not. But then you need to make the clean cut too, because you're either going to do it not at all, really well, or half-ass it, which is basically not at all anyway.
Yeah. And for me, half-assing it, it's just not even an option.
No, it can't be.
That's not enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Or it's not practical for me. I think it's just the mindset I've got. You know, like everyone's different as well. And some people are very slow to apply themselves to things, or there's that risk or fear of judgment or whatever. But for me, it's like I've bypassed that, and it's like I don't mind what people think of me or what people's perceptions are. If something makes me happy,
there's huge value
That's
in
good.
that. Hey, like I don't like who I was as a teenager, early 20s.
Yeah.
Like tried to conform, like pretended I was someone I wasn't. Used to talk a fair bit of shit and just was a dickhead. In my opinion, I was a dickhead. Like I don't like who I was at all. Not one bit about me, pretty much. And it took a long time for me to work out that, and I wish I worked it out earlier, but like just to fucking master my own beat.
Yep.
And I look back now and I'm just like, fuck man, I could have got so much more done and progressed so much further in life if I just didn't give a shit and just was who I was and let people into my life who wanted to be there instead of me trying to force myself in and be someone I'm not. And I think there's a lot of fake shit out there, or that even like industry-specific fake shit, like the fishing industry is yuck, like toxic as fuck. I'm sure the hunting industry is.
it's probably worse.
But yeah, I would not surprise me. It's smaller probably too.
It's a lot smaller.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think there's value in just, I don't know, being yourself and being true to who you are. And then I think the rest just falls into place with people that come into your life, love, whatever you want. It's there for the taking as long as you stay true to who you are as a person and what you believe in.
But at the end of the day, like that's all you need to and should do, because you're living your life on your terms. It's like a lot of people get caught up in trying to please or appease other people. And it's like, you're not living your life for them.
No.
At the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to give a fuck about Joe Blogs.
No.
If he approved of how you lived your life, you're not even going to think of them. But so many people make decisions based on the influence of others and what they perceive other people will think of them for those decisions, you know. And I think that stops people doing a lot of things, that fear of judgment.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I've let go of over the last 4 years especially, is that fear of judgment, you know. Like I cop a lot of shit for things I do or say, but I stand by everything. It's, you know, I'm true to myself. And if people don't like that, that's fine. Like you don't have to agree with me.
See you, man. Why do you still like, and then you'll get those constant hecklers that like disagree with you and spend time on like messages.
Go out and make memes about you and shit like that.
Why the fuck are you even here, man? Like unfollow. You don't like my shit? See ya.
And I've said that. It's like with people, it's like you don't like me or what I'm about or whatever. Why are you listening to it?
I'm to the point, man. I literally am to the point where I don't follow family, friends, or friends I've known for a long time, whatever, because I don't enjoy their content.
Yeah, but that's what you should do. You're not obliged to do it. It's like if something doesn't bring positivity into your life, don't have it.
Yeah, like I don't have any interest in seeing, and there's nothing wrong with what people are doing, but like I don't have any interest in seeing your dinner parties or your kids and all that sort of stuff. Like I love kids and all that sort of stuff, but I don't enjoy it either, but like I don't need to
It just doesn't bring value.
Nah, it doesn't bring value. That's a good way of putting it. To like, I guess it depends on how you take social media, but that for me is not, I don't value that. I'd rather go and see you and spend time with your kids and have dinner or whatever else. But on socials, it doesn't gel with me, so I don't follow those people.
But the thing is, you don't even have to justify it.
No.
But you feel as if you
have to.
should.
I just tried to, and I still couldn't do it properly.
Yeah.
And people get offended by it.
Yeah.
Because like, you're supposed to be my friend. Like, why aren't you following me?
Yeah.
But like, are you trying to make a living out of social media? What difference does it make if I follow you or not? Can I just call you once a week or something? Like,
yeah, for sure. That's one thing, man, that like I really pride myself on is like really letting go of that. I wouldn't say that fear of judgment, just other people's perceptions. Like there's always going to be naysayers out there. The negativity is always going to be a louder noise than the positivity. It's always going to be there whether you listen to it or not. Just don't let it affect you and do your thing anyway.
Yeah.
You know, because like sometimes, I'll bite and be like, mate, like if someone's talking shit or whatever, it's like, mate, like if you don't like me, just don't follow me or don't associate or don't talk about me. Like I don't even know you, but whatever I've done to upset you, sorry that you feel that way, but
catch up.
It's just my life. Like I'm just doing my thing organically, you know? So, and I've really let that go because like I cop a fair bit of shit, but I'll be the first person that'll help someone out or anything like that. Like I won't go behind people's back and badmouth them. I won't talk negative things about it because if you want to build the tallest building in the city, you don't do that by tearing the tallest building down.
No.
You build your own one.
100%.
You don't tear others down. If you want to have the best product in the industry or the best brand or anything like that, you don't do that by going, this brand is shit, ours is better because they're shit. It's like you talk about your own products, you talk about your own brand. You don't reference others and go, negative about X, Y, Z. You build up your own products, you build up your own brand, you get your community.
Because that other brand is probably some dude like you that started from nothing and built something, and like you've got to have like a level of respect for those people. And regardless of like this person or this business or whatever, if you're talking industry spec, like this person might be the shittest person you know, but they have a multi-million-dollar company. Like you cannot deny their success. So you give them the respect that they deserve. You take the personalism out of it if you're talking business, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, and like bow hunting in particular, it's such a small industry, and I think it's one of those things that when I say good at it, you know, it's like what defines good, but it's like if you're shooting big animals, like big trophy animals on the regular, that's quantifiable, you know what I mean? It's very hard to do that, and the differentiation between the people that do that and don't is massive. So I think
as in like you're talking like people that hunt for food or mostly for food? No,
I'm saying like, fuck man, everyone's a trophy hunter. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
Everyone has a trophy hunter aspect in them, and a lot of people, especially those who go out and chase deer or whatever, they want to shoot the biggest animal on the hill. Like, I don't care what you say. If a big buck walks out, you're going to shoot the big one over the small one. You know, that's always going to happen. And I think guys that go out and try and do that, like, or you see guys that are just shooting like really good quality animals on the regular, versus guys that are like busting their ass and they might get a couple of chances a year and shoot some animals. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong. Whatever you shoot is a trophy in your eyes. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be the first person to congratulate anyone on anything they shoot. But other people see it as, oh, fuck that guy because he shot this, and this. Fuck him. He must be doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like a lot of jealousy that gets associated with it, or a lot of negativity.
That's in the fishing industry as well. That's in any industry, I suppose.
There was, and it's funny as well. Like, I cop shit. I shot a young deer earlier in the year. It was a 3.5-year-old deer with James, and on this particular block, I've shot 3 deer in 7 years. Up until Keith, I've shot 4 deer in 7 years.
Yep.
That's not going too crazy. I know the numbers of deer that were there. I've managed the herd there. I've let them numbers grow. Like, even though we call them a pest, I've let those numbers grow, you know. I really know what's on the ground there. I'm very cognizant of that. And I shot a 3.5-year-old deer with James, my mate, and we've been hunting for something like 16 days straight. And we wanted to get an animal on film. I shot a 3.5-year-old deer, shot it all good, and someone's blowing up at me because I didn't shoot a fucking 8-year-old deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so I shoot a young animal that I'm happy to post about, blah, 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 and they're like, oh, you shouldn't be shooting these animals because it sets a bad example, blah, 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 blah. But then also the same person when I shoot this deer is into me calling me a trophy hunter. It's like, what do you want me to do, brother?
Yeah. I
shoot a young one, you're into me. I shoot one of the biggest that's ever been bow shot in Australia, you're into me.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? Are you just going to hate me no matter what I do?
Yeah. Because people it's easier to grasp, fuck me dead, the negatives over the positives.
Oh, for sure.
And because the negatives are right in front of your face.
It's louder.
Yeah, because
louder noise.
we're taught to be primarily like negative, like pessimistic, like worry about all the bad shit that can happen.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think that's why it's like everyone always brings out the worst first.
Yeah.
And I think it seems to be a recurring theme in hunting that's the case. Like the whole stigma around trophy hunting, especially for like exotic animals, if you're talking like Western culture, exotic animals like Africa and shit like that. And then Aiden and James put it into perspective for me, saying like, there's that fucking lion, you know what I'm talking
Cecil.
about? That one. Yeah, but apparently there's that one and there was something else. There was another one that was it was a rhino, I think, or a hippo. And it was basically, no, it was a rhino. I'm pretty sure it was a rhino. And it was fucking the whole show up because it was this old ass, semi-infertile rhino.
Killing
everything, bashing up all the young rhinos and just running a fuck. So it got auctioned. Like, people thought, oh, you killed the rhino, you're fucking the devil, basically. But they didn't know that rhino got auctioned for a heap of money. That money went back into conservation for the species. And that rhino was an actual problem to the species.
Can I give a good little rundown on
go on.
how like African hunting is like such a taboo topic and people don't understand it.
Yeah.
And this is one of the best ways to think about it and best ways to sort of quantify how hunting works as conservation in Africa, right? So say you have a pride of lions, it will have its dominant male lion and he might be dominant from the age, let's say a lion lives for 14 years in the wild max. I think that's about their max lifespan. It's generally about 12. He'll run that pride from about, say, 5, maybe up until 9 years old. 9 at best. That male lion hits 9 years old, so he's past his sexual maturity. He gets kicked out of the pride and he's starting going in his backwards years because he's replaced by a younger, more powerful counterpart, whatever. So that pride of lions has their established territory. It's away from people, everything like that. They're hunting wild animals, living freely. All of a sudden, he's booted out of that 200 square kilometre territory and he's got to go find new territory and live on his own. So he can't go into other prides' territory or anything like that because he'll get killed by the male lions. So he has to go into outlying areas, which is typically villages, farming land, anything like that. Yeah. So obviously he's getting older and he's getting weaker, so he's going to want to prey on easier items, i.e. cattle or people. They obviously start with cattle first, and then the farmers, they're a problem and they're going to shoot them. Yeah. You know, it happens. They shoot them. Whether they say it or not, the lions get shot if they're eating cattle. It's just not spoken about. But also if he gets old, say he survives through till 10 years old and then he's losing all the teeth in his head, then it's like, oh, I can eat villages because they're easy. He becomes a problem lion. He's already a problem lion because he's living close to villages, farms, everything like that, making people uneasy. taken cattle, and now he's taken a young boy that's working in a field, whatever. So he's killed humans now. That lion is 9, 10, 11 years old. He's going to die within the next 18 months, from old age, right? So he's going to die in the wild. That lion at 10 or 11 years old is the peak of trophy hunting, you know what I mean? Like that's him as a super mature old animal. It's got everything there, and someone will come in and pay $300,000 to kill that lion that alternatively is just going to die and if not become, in most cases, a problem animal.
Yeah.
And if he dies in the wild from natural causes, he's not just going to go to sleep and die. He's going to have his ass eaten by hyenas, or he's going to slowly starve to death.
Yeah.
That's the reality of what's going to happen. So it's either he can have a life that's cut short by 1 to 2 years and he's killed by a trophy hunter who's going to pay $200,000-$300,000, and that money is directly invested back into the pride, back into the management of the area, the herd of all the animals and the land that they're living on, or he can be let go to live his own life, become a problem animal. The villagers then hate all lions and will then shoot all the lions they see because they associate that with all of them.
Yeah.
So can you see where the hunting brings the value there?
Yeah, 100%.
crazy.
But people don't look at it rationally or like objectively.
Well, they don't get to see the forum where that, like, when have you ever heard someone on mainstream media portray it like that?
No,
Never.
never. Mainstream media make me sick, man.
Yeah.
I despise people that follow that shit as gospel. Like, no, I don't despise the people. I despise the media for doing that to people. But fuck, man, I hate it, hey.
It's so constricted and contorted.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the truth, but it's not the whole truth. And they twist
Words.
the words and twist the facts, or lay the facts out in a way that it reads a certain way. I did a thing the other day, actually. I shared, 9 News shared, I saw it on heaps of people's stories about like, go and get vaccinated, you fucking clowns, rah, rah. And I don't like talking about COVID too much, but this thing irked me because it was like a table, and it was from 9 News, and it was like people that have been in hospital, in ICU or hospitalised, caught COVID, been in ICU, and have been vaccinated. And it wrote out the people that had caught COVID was like a huge number. And there's like, it was vaccinated and deaths, sorry. It was, so the people who caught COVID, the amount of people that went into ICU, and then the amount of deaths from COVID. So unvaccinated people had, I think it was about roughly 40,000 from memory. And there was X amount of thousand deaths. It was nearly 4,000 ICU, and then 400 deaths or some shit. So the contraction to death ratio was like 1.08%. And it was written in red, and everything had all this like little vaccination, little germs in the like letterheads and like a little needle and all that sort of shit. And then at the top was like people who were vaccinated, went into ICU, and the deaths. And it looked like this real small number because they scaled it like that. I calculated it out because it was annoying me. It was 1.08%.
Both the same.
Both exactly the same death rate. The only thing that table showed was that hospital, like if you weren't vaccinated, there was like more hospital congestion because of unvaccinated people.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And all of the data was true that they put in there, but how they laid it out didn't show the act. Like, all I had to do was add another column and say what the fucking death percentage was. And if you don't think that someone dying from an illness is the most important thing out of all of this, you're a fucking clown yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just portraying it to get more views.
100%.
Keep the hype going.
There was like a massive, I should get Mick started on this on the next podcast, actually. There was a huge tax break for mainstream media.
Yes, yeah.
Because they're like semi-government funded or owned or whatever, and it's just a
behind the scenes anyway.
To push political agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, they got all tax breaks and benefits.
When
and
small
everything
business
like
just gets fucking fingered year after year.
Yeah, it was COVID benefits for mainstream media and all these things, and it's like, do you guys really need that?
Nah. Don't get your fucking data from them. Jesus Christ.
No, I think one where I really seen that is I was actually on the news once I done an article with a lady in the UK. It was all really pro hunting and everything like that. And basically some news outlets took like one line that I said into it and just used this quote and flipped it on its head. And next thing I was on like Channel 10 News on like their morning talk show. I didn't even know. And they took this one line that I said, totally flipped it on its head. And I sort of commented, I said, hunting in Africa and its perceptions are very skewed because of shows like The Lion King and things like that. It's really skewed our perceptions of African animals and put them on a pedestal. And the title or the caption of the little segment was like Hunter slams the Lion King and says animals should be shot and all this. And it's like, this is not what I said. And they just went on for 20 minutes and just literally there was not one fact in there, not one word, not one thing I'd quoted, not one thing I said. And it was just a slander against me for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And
national TV.
They would have been like, hey, would you like to counter this? No, they wouldn't have said that because it's they're fear-mongering dogs, man. I cannot stand them. They're oxygen thieves.
It was 20 minutes of just blatant lies. And I listened to it and I was just like, wow, there's not one skerrick of truth being spoken here, but it's on TV so people will believe it. And
turn the damn news off, people.
And here's me just getting smashed with it. So like until you have that perspective, it like really highlights it. It's like they just make things up to suit their agenda. Yeah. You know, like massively. Yeah. Massively.
It's disgusting, man. I think it's so unhealthy. And I think it's shaped and continues to shape most of the people.
Oh, I think, most of the people just take it as gospel because they don't. I think the power to be free thinking is dwindling.
Oh, man, the last 2 years it's getting worse.
Yeah.
We're almost like a fucking communist society here at the moment.
And I think you're almost ostracized for doing so.
Yeah.
You know, like even my family and friends, like when COVID first came out, I've got the same beliefs on it as I do now. And everyone, I was just like ostracized for it.
Yeah, don't say what it is because fuck me.
And then now everyone's like starting to get on board with me. It's like, oh,
now
coming around are we, guys?
Yeah.
I was like, I remember when you almost wouldn't talk to me because of this and now you got the same view as me.
Yeah, and then the thing is like you go, oh, I told you so. And then they're like, oh, no, you're a fucking big node or whatever else. Yeah. Like you can't win. It's like that same shit. I chose not to like entertain it. I don't share too much shit apart from that thing because it fucking pissed me off. But just to try and set the record straight or try and get people just to look at things a bit better than face value. But
I try and do that. I don't go the whole COVID route with it. I try and avoid that like the plague.
Same.
But like I think I try and encourage people to be more free thinking and question whether it's government.
Do your research, man. Do your research.
Or even just like your perspective on like what and why you're doing things. It's like, do you think the big corporation gives you a pay rise or whatever because they care about you? Or is it because they need you to keep making more money? It's because you make the money and they want you to stay and continue to make the money and make whoever manages you their job easier and whoever manages them their job easier. Like you're all part of a production. Yes, there's interpersonal relationships between people that work for corporations and blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like you're not getting this pay rise because you're a good person. You're not getting these benefits because the company cares about you. You're getting this because you make the money.
Oh, I got a company car. Yeah. Or the accountant goes to the CEO, you need to go buy some cars because so you can fucking shuffle
offset
down.
Some tax.
Offset some tax. And then the boss doesn't say that. They go, hey, man, you're doing a great job. Here's a car.
Yeah.
With full fact, like knowing that they just fucking need to just shift some money around.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's the fact that like people are worth more to the corporation than the corporation is worth to the people. You know what I mean? It's like whilst ever you're there in your job, you're making money for that company.
Yeah. And if you're happy with that and you're comfortable with that, then that's all gravy. But you need to do your research first and then don't cry and like when you're bloody sacked or whatever else happens. Like you're treated as a number. Don't fucking do that.
I just think having that knowledge there in the back of your mind is something you need to know. That's like you are just a number regardless. Like just know that. Like if you're part of a big system like that or whatever, like you are just a number. But at least have the ability to know and understand that and see where you do fit in on the big picture. Like don't just think it's all hunky-dory and it's all love because that's generally not a lot of the time.
No.
You know, and I think that's something as a society when you become a free thinker these days, you're ostracized a lot more for it.
Yeah.
Because it's so ingrained in us, man. It's like from from when you're a little kid, it's like go to school, get good grades, do this, get a good job, work hard.
Be 16 years old and go, what do you want to be when you grow up? Fuck, man, no chance.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some people, but fucking hell. Like,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to pick a uni degree when I'm flat out getting a fucking girlfriend? Like,
Yeah.
I can't even talk to women. Like,
Yeah.
what? Man.
You're still a kid.
Yeah. Haven't even had my first beer at a pub yet.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to pick what I'm going to be for the next fucking 50 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think like society doesn't encourage people to take risks. They don't say
No.
go out and try all these professions, find what makes you happy. It's like no, do this, study this, and then stick with it.
Yeah.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Try things like take big risks when you're young because the biggest risk is not taking a risk.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, there's good fallback. Like, obviously, there's people with hard upbringings and all that sort of stuff that can't do those things. But if you do have the opportunity to, do it.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I did because I had quite a good upbringing. And, like, I knew if I was like, Mum and Dad, I want to do this. And they probably would have been semi against it, but I would have been like, I'm fucking doing it. Did it, and then failed or whatever. And then Mum and Dad were quite happy to just been open the door, come back home, live and save you money again, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I had that buffer, which is I wish I took advantage of it. And I understand that a lot of people don't have that, but I reckon you need to be able to think like that regardless. Like I think you need to be able to look at stuff objectively and do your research and view both sides of the fence before you base your decision, like make your decision. Sorry.
Yeah, but also the only way to know is by doing.
Yeah, 100%.
As well, you know, like you have to throw yourself in the deep water at times to figure those things out. Like my parents, like I went to uni for a couple of months and dropped out because I hated it. I hated it. Like I started doing mining engineering and it was just like, I was like, this is ridiculous. This is just doing pretend work for no reason. Like what? I was like, I couldn't just justify it. It's like, I'm just doing pretend work. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
And to me, it just didn't sit right. And like my parents, they really wanted me to get a university degree or get a trade or whatever. And when I was like, oh, this isn't for me, they were sort of like, oh, what are you going to do then? I was like, oh, I don't know, I'll figure it out. But I just knew it wasn't true to myself in that what I wanted to do. And Mum and Dad all along thought I'd be the one that would go get a uni degree, blah, 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 blah. And like, it just wasn't what I wanted to do.
That's the other thing too. Like parents are obviously bad for it, because they raise you a certain way and they like have this semi preconceived expectation. Yeah. And it's 9 times out of 10 it's not the case.
Yeah. And
unless they forcefully make you do it.
Yeah. And I think there is a bit of that, but I also think a lot of people don't want to disappoint their parents as well.
Yeah.
And they'll go along with
100%.
it. Like I'm the black sheep of the family, man. Like 100%. Like if you haven't already gathered that. Like I'm totally against the grain of everything, you know. But I think a lot of people are scared to disappoint their parents if they say, no, I want you to do this, or they don't know how to say no to them. Like, I love both my parents, don't get me wrong, but I'll also just treat them as two people.
Yeah.
Just because they're my parents, that gives zero extra weight to their opinion to me.
Yeah.
You know, like if people say, oh, they're but your family, I'll go, no. If someone's being a dickhead, they're being a dickhead.
100%.
If it's my parents or whatever, they have no more weight than a good friend of mine or whatever. It's like I'll take everyone's opinion with the same weight and listen to it just the same, but no one is on a pedestal or no one overrules anything to me because of their position or their relation to me in life.
And that's objective thinking. At the end of the day, they're just another human doing their thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not the issue, like any issue isn't about whether, oh, but he's your brother, but he's your sister, but he's your mother, but he's your father. It's not about that. It's the fact that whatever it is, like the issue itself is the crux of it all. You can't, it carries no weight. Like, okay, like you're my brother, you're dealing cocaine and you fucking killed a dude and you're going to go to jail. I'm like the opposite. I'm a religious man. And I go, nah, fuck you. I'm never talking to you ever again. And then your mum's like, but he's your brother. Oh, would you say that if it wasn't your son?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Or like, anything. I don't know. It's drowned. I can't explain it probably, but it's fucking wrong anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's how we've been raised as well, though. Like your parents are authority, and yes, they are with a lot of things. But when it comes to decisions that affect you and your life, it's like they're just people at the end of the day.
Yeah. There's a difference between having your family's back.
Oh, for sure.
And then, or like bringing yourself into disrepute because of their stupid ass decision.
or not even that. It's whether it's they're just lack of thinking outside the circle or anything like that. You know? And I think, and I'm not saying my family hasn't been supportive, which they are, but there's also been times where they've been like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Like, get a trade, do this, do that, you know, like get a backup, because they're scared for you. And they don't have the same vision that you do.
And they have pure intent. Like you know that they're doing it out of love.
Yeah.
Like they're worried that they don't want you to fail.
Yeah.
They want the best. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like what you think is the best versus what I think are the best are two very polar opposite things.
Yeah. Like I've heard your opinion. I understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm still doing this.
Yeah, that's right.
Or I'm not. Or like, yeah, actually your opinion makes sense.
Yeah.
I might do that or not. Yeah. Like.
And I'm also like, just, you may not see it, but just trust me and just I'll say I told you so in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
Which I've done, you know, a couple of times. So that's really good there. But I think a lot of people get hung up on that, and that's why they'll stick with something or they'll go down a path because they've been fed down that path early on, and they go, well, I'm here now. It's too late to stop. I'm in the deep end. I may as well just work this job I don't like for the next 20 years or stick with a relationship that I'm in because I'm here now, and it's just, you know, it's just what I do.
Yeah, my old girl's numb to it now. She's just like, I just tell her I'm doing something, like, and she's just like, oh, righto, like, just whatever.
Yeah, it's the same with me, man. Like, I can't say no to a good idea.
No.
You know, like
NFTs.
If fucking buy the dip. You text me before, I text Wade and I was like, hey man, we on for dinner, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, bro, I'm just shuffling around a few NFTs. So I was like, fucking righto, mate, buy the dip.
It's legit. I don't know how long for, but I'm making the most out of the stupid shit.
I've made a bit out of crypto. It has been good to me, but it's down in the drain at the moment. So what are we talking about?
I don't know. I think I was talking about my old girl just being like, like I tell her what I'm doing or an idea or whatever, and she's just like, "You're doing what?" And then I'm explaining, and she's like, "Oh, whatever."
Oh yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah. I'm such a sucker. Like I can't, if I have a good idea or a notion or anything like that, I have to do it. Like I can't just let it pass me by. Like this year, like I'll start my 7th. Well, I've got 7 businesses registered now. 5 of them are operating currently, and like another 2 will come online over the next 2-3 months. But like, that's 7 active operating businesses that I've got under the banner now, and it's like I need to stop. Yeah, you know, like it's ridiculous, but they're all things I'm like interested in, all things I'm passionate about, like all cool projects that I have going on. And like, hey, if 3 of those fail, there's 4 that haven't.
Do you think you'll be able to identify if it's too stretched? Like if you're...
Yes and no. I think I need to remove myself from the day-to-day of them all and be a manager of it as a blanket, as opposed to running... What I used to do versus what I do now is chalk and cheese. Like I've learned a lot to having people in places to do jobs that they're specialised at and things like that, and manage and delegate a team as opposed to doing everything myself. So yes, like if I was doing it how I was 3 years ago, of course, I'd be far too stressed. But now that we have a team of people in place doing things that they're specialising at, I've got people who are better at me doing jobs that I used to do. And it's now up to me to manage those people versus just spread myself thin and do as much as I can. I've got...
It's the letting go thing, hey? Like you've got like a personal connection to like, when I started, it was just me and I was doing this. And then you're like, I don't want to give it to you because it's my thing.
It's hard. Yeah. And I remember I spoke to Mr. Adam Greentree, one of my business partners, and he said, you will always be able to do it better than someone else within your business, or you will always care more. But he said to me, if you want it to grow, you have to let go of that and accept that there will be a certain level that people will operate to. It won't be what you operate to, but it's your job to manage it as best you can if you want it to grow. And that's resonated with me. You know? Like why should, and also the perspective, why should someone who's an employee care as much as someone who owns or founded the company? They shouldn't.
No.
They by right shouldn't.
Man, this is like weird ass deja vu, because I was having an issue within myself of this same exact issue that you're trying to explain right now. And I was just like, it was doing me in. And I knew that I wasn't quite justified in the way I was thinking. So I was like, I need to talk to people about this because this makes no fucking sense to me. So Guthrie is one of my...
Michael Clifford.
Michael Clifford.
Good man.
He hates both those names. So like he's obviously way further down the road than me, and I look to him as a mentor. Like he's given me a lot of really good advice over the years.
Yep.
So I reached out, and because he's obviously been through it, and I basically said that same sort of stuff. Like, this is I'm not going to say what it was, but this thing happened, and I was like, what's the go here? Like, this is how I think. Am I justified in thinking like this? And he's like, no. And he basically explained it. So I got a screenshot. I check it every now and then. I won't read it to you because it'll give too much context to what the issue was. But basically, I got a screenshot and I refer to it all the time when I have weird things and I'm like the same situations where I'm like too afraid to let go of something or something doesn't sit right with me with what someone does. And it's exactly how you put it then. Like literally, it will almost be word for word with how he wrote that.
Yeah. And it shows people's context to a different situation. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Because no one is ever going to be as invested
as you.
No, never.
And why should you? It's like they're not going to, if they don't own the business, they don't get the profit at the end of the day.
No.
And ultimately, like that's a lot of the main driving factor for why people work is like the financial reward at the end of it. It's like if at the end of the day, the business is successful or super successful, they're still getting paid the same. Obviously, there's job satisfaction and the people wanting to work. But if things go wrong, it's on you and it should be on you. It shouldn't be on your people as well because they don't get rewarded if it goes even better.
No.
You know? So you're the owner. You take on that onus. And one thing I've learned is that I don't expect people to do things that I wouldn't do.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
That's
It's like,
huge one.
It's like I had to go down to Sydney on Christmas Eve and pick up a delivery that was late. And instead, like, I wouldn't have expected any of the boys to do that. Yeah, I would have paid them for their time and do that, but it's like, I'll go and do it.
Yeah.
I'll just go and do it because I'm not going to ask you to do that. Or the boys would be like, what are you doing here today? Aren't you off? It's like, well, yeah, I am off, but I'm just planning for 2022 to... you know, get ahead, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, have some time off. I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, I'll be here.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to ask them to do things that I wouldn't want to do myself because it's not right. It's like, you need to be a leader. It's like, if you want people to do things, you should be there willing to do those same things with them or the equivalent of that, you know?
Yeah, they need to see, like, you're in the arena with them. Yeah. Fucking
for sure. It's like, you're not doing the same things, but you're invested.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Shit, yeah. Well, I've got... similarities, all that sort of stuff. But like, I've got a couple of young guys that do work with me and stuff, and I've gotten to the point where like I wanted to be on every shoot, and I want to be involved. I want to be talking to clients and all that sort of stuff constantly. But I was too spread thin. I couldn't do it. So I was like, fuck it. Here you go.
Here's some responsibility.
Here's your job, man. This is like I didn't just chuck. They were sort of in the deep end, but they had a bit of a scope of like what I wanted and what we had to achieve. And then both of them on separate occasions just dove in, like got it done and done an amazing job of it. And then that sort of like, I just sat back and I was like, fuck, that was a really good decision to let them do that. So like I would be happy, and I said it to them too, like if you can, like if you want to commit to this, what I'm trying to build, and you want to stay the course and help me build it, like it's going to be successful. I'll make it successful one way or another. And if it gets to the point where you've been there since day one and you're so invested, I'll let you buy into the business. Like you'd be the first person I asked, or I'd give you a section of the business just for your blood, sweat and tears that you've put in. Because those boys do stuff for me and they don't even want to charge me for it half the time, or they just do it out of the good, like they're on the socials and stuff. They help me manage the socials. Like the business can't afford to pay them for that, but they do it anyway. And I have the utmost respect for them for doing that for me. Yeah. And when I can give back, I want to.
Yeah. That's so hard to find is people that are committed.
I've been very lucky.
Yeah. But I think if you're doing things you're passionate about, that comes a lot easier because real respect's real. You know? Like people can see that you're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And they want to be with that. And I can resonate with that highly particularly with the people that we have work here. Like the boys that work here for us, like I cannot speak high enough of them. They are so invested and a part of what we do here, and they want to be around for the long term. It is so notable. Like I cannot question their commitment to the companies and the brands that they work for. Like it's great. Like in COVID, man, the boys came in and volunteered for 6 weeks. I didn't ask them to do that. Yeah. I told them they didn't have to do it, but they wanted to do it to help. Yeah. Like, I can't ask that of someone. No. And it's like, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not doing that. Yeah. You know, so like, I'm also proud about like that we've got that environment here at work that people physically want to be here and they're happy to be here, and doing so, we've created that culture that people want to be here. Yeah. You know, so that's been really good. But the people that we have in this environment, like I'm so fortunate for that. And it's just because we're doing what we're passionate about. It's brought all these 100%. People together. So that resonates highly with me, man. Yeah, 100%. And then you've got to, it's got to be sort of balanced out. So like I've got another example of another guy that does work with us is Adrian Tuck. He's one of the best photographers on Australia. He doesn't think so, but he is. And I seen it for ages, and he was like at me like, I'm not ready. The dude's been ready for a very long time, and he finally like pulled the trigger and started his own business as Adrian Tuck Photography. And he's a very good friend of mine and a great dude. But he obviously, like, I knew that he was going to sort of sit to the side of Flow State because of what he wanted to achieve. And I had no right to, like, I have no right to sort of be like, oh, you're not part of the family, because he's just trying to do the same thing I'm doing. Yeah. Sort of thing. So like, I respect his market and what he's trying to like crack into and stuff with his business and things like that and his strategies. But he's fully involved in all of our conversations, whether he's not on as many shoots nowadays because he's doing his own thing and all that sort of stuff. He's still open, like he can still have his opinions. He's still heavily involved with the business. I run nearly all of my business decision past the boys, because ultimately, like, they're the men on the ground and it affects them directly. Yeah. Most stuff, obviously, can't be everything, but most stuff decisions I'm going to make, I'll be like, what do you think? Because I'm flying by the seat of my pants with a lot of stuff as well. So like Adrian's off to the side, but he's still heavily involved. And I think people need to like understand that. Like, there's enough room in the game for everybody. For sure. So like, he wants to do a lot more sporting events and things like that. So I'll go nowhere near him out of respect for him up there. And same thing, like he says, like, he gets a job for someone. He's like, oh, do you do video? He's like, no, but Flow State do. Like, and it's that sort of stuff, I think, that grows an industry. I was about to say, the growth of an industry, though, it's like if you're working in a particular field and he's doing work with X company. Yeah. And someone else starts seeing them doing video or photography, they're going to go, hey, we need to do this. And then all of a sudden it's promoting that whole industry to do more with that, down that line of things. So I think if you're promoting your work in general, it's going to benefit everyone in the long run. You've just got to remove yourself, like take that ego away and look at it and go, what's this going to do in the long run? Is this going to benefit all of us in the long run? Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, cool, awesome. Let's 100%. Run with that, you know. So, but it's very hard because people are very tunnel vision and narrow minded with it all. Yeah, and it's like if you can't remove yourself from that and look at it holistically, 100%. You're going to get hung up on that every single time. Yeah, and I truly, like, from the bottom of my heart, like, want to see him win as much as I want to win. Yeah, and I'll do whatever I need to do to help him win, because he's been very good to what I'm doing, and has been very supportive and very helpful wherever he can. Like, he still won't charge me for them, actually. I get like a bunch of raws from a job, raw images. And I'm like, fucking, I don't have time to edit these. I was like, Adrian, can you just knock these edits up for me? And I'm like, charge me for them, man. And he flat out refuses to charge to the point where we could nearly get into an argument about it. Yeah. And like, I'll always remember that. Yeah. And I'll always try and pay it forward. Like, he might need something in future and I'll make it happen. Like shit like that. Like, people need to remember that shit. And I feel like, as people progress, like people like us that are in the crux of it, in the heat of the fire, like as you progress and you start to become successful, a lot of people lose sight and forget that all the people that were involved that helped them get to where they are.
And then I think where you say like you need to disconnect and start managing it more as like an umbrella. And I think that's great. That's an awesome idea. I never want to get too big to where I don't.
You still need to have perspective.
Yeah, you need to be able to like still be able to go to the warehouse, the site, the whatever, and the clients still want the clients to know who I am.
Yeah.
And I still want the boys to know that I can still film and I can still be on jobs and I still want to be a part of like the core of the business, what we actually do.
Sure.
Not so much just, like I can't quite explain it probably, but I think
It's you want to have that perspective there and you still want to be grounded within the business.
Yeah, 100%. Like you need to,
I think it's also very hard, and this is something that not I struggle with, it's just a concept that I need to be aware of as well. You're a boss and a friend with your employees. It's like there's a line where you have to be a leader of the business. You have to manage your business, make the right decisions there. But you're also working with people that you have close personal relationships and connections with. And that's a very hard one because if someone's not towing the line or mistakes have been made or whatever, it's like, and we need to correct those things. It needs to come from a business standpoint. It's like, hey, we're not doing these things right for the business. We need to do this, this, and this. We can improve on this. And it has to be shown coming from a business standpoint, not a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
And to everyone's credit, like it's really good. I can have those hard conversations and say, hey, we're falling behind here, blah, blah, blah. We need to improve on these areas. We need to review this. But also in saying that, it's my job to manage that so that doesn't happen in the first instance.
100%.
If things aren't happening or I've given someone too much responsibility or something like that, it's not because they're falling behind. It's I've assumed they're more capable or they've taken on more responsibility than they can handle naturally anyway. And I've just gone, okay, I need to fix that then and have that conversation or structure my business in a way that it's going to improve. But having that with people that you have a personal relationship with and really good friendships with, that adds another layer to it, because a lot of times if you go to say someone, hey, your performance with this isn't up to scratch or whatever it might be, if they're falling behind for some reason.
Fuck up, cunt.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a very hard line between being a boss and being a friend, but you definitely have to make that distinction, and that's something I think I do well with it. Yeah. And that's just me commenting. Obviously, I don't know because I'm not on the other end of it. Yeah. But I think I do it in a good manner, and I believe like we have a good working relationship with everyone. And if there is a hard conversation, we can click fingers and go, hey, do you want to go get a bite to eat?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's really good and really important to have. But that's just one of those things that I've sort of encountered, and it's magnified when you have a smaller workforce. It's like with me and Jack, like we spend all week here in the office, and it's like on our days off, we fucking go hunting together for the next 48 hours, and then we'll come back here again. Yeah. It's like I see him every single day. Of course, there's going to be hard conversations or whatever happen at some stage, but to still keep those friendships there with it, I think it's very good to be able to do that, to have that distinction as well. Yeah. And it's something like, I'm sure as the workforce grows, it's something I'll deal with a lot better, because like I wasn't an employer up until I was. Yeah. And then you've got to make that go along. But like, I think I'm proud of how I manage it and how it's happening and everything like that. And there's a few different chiefs around here, like within, because we've got a sort of conglomerate of companies that operate under the one umbrella, but everyone will sort of come to me as like the top dog and be like, come to me for advice or if there's issues and things like that, because I can talk. Yeah. So, and I'm happy about that. Like, I think I can take a lot of comfort in that. 100%.
And you've got to be able to have a mix of conversations. So they'll have, I'm talking broadly here, like the boys that do stuff for me contract to me. They're not direct employees, so it's slightly different. But from a broader perspective over my time doing all sorts of stuff, is like you need to be able to differentiate the personal conversations from the work ones and the crossover too, because you're like, I don't know what an example is, could be fucking anything, working big hours or whatever, and they're coming down, they're like, I'm really stressed, I'm really anxious and shit like that. And then the week before they had a conversation with you that their relationship's doing tough at home and shit like that. And like, they may not be able to put the two and two together, but it's your job to be able to like go, hey, what about all that stuff that happened last week with your missus? Did that all get sorted?
Yeah.
And not that it's like the depth of it isn't your business, but it affects
It's
your
context.
business. Yeah. So like you got to be able to have like those sorts of conversations and be able to differentiate between the two and talk about the crossover.
Yeah, and juggle the two hats, the boss and friend that you're wearing.
100% at the same time sometimes.
Yeah.
Which
and there is no right or wrong with
Nah.
it. And it's the line, it's like you to be an empathetic person as well.
empathy, that's a huge.
But also there's a business to run as well. And it's like you need to be making the right decisions to keep that business viable. And if there's things happening that are affecting it negatively, you need to address that. Is that going to upset someone? How do you do that the correct way? There's like so many variables and so much depth to it all. And I think how you are as a leader or to them in the first place and their respect towards you, I think that's already 60% of the outcome, how it's going to go down. Like if you're respected by the people that you're working with, every conversation is going to be a lot easier.
Yep.
If you're not respected, you're losing to begin with.
Yeah, you've already lost, basically, and it takes a long time to gain and not very long to lose.
Yeah, 100%. You know,
and most of the time it's your fucking fault.
Oh, always, man, always. Yeah, like particularly business. Like at the end of the day, everything's your fault. Like just because someone doesn't do their job right, yeah, cool, but it's like it's your job to manage that and ensure that doesn't happen.
Well, you're the face of consumer sees.
Yeah.
Well, referencing like your businesses.
For you, yeah, but you're ultimately in charge of everything.
100%.
You delegate that responsibility to someone.
It's still on you.
It's still on you because you've delegated. It's up to you to manage, you know, and that's what you have to be very cognizant of, that the buck stops with you.
Yeah, and it's huge. Like for me, personal development with a lot of the project management stuff that I do. I've managed people for quite a long time now, but like the personality differences, huge, massive thing with how you manage. Like two completely different personalities can work completely cohesively together doing one job, but when there's an issue, you've got to deal with those two completely separate over the one issue. Could be over the one issue. And I think that's huge. Like that was a huge one for me, personal growth wise, was trying to like listen and understand and deliver the right advice, or to suit
in the
those,
right context to those people.
To those, so those personalities and those people will actually listen and take it in, and actually want to do better or want to fix it or can fix it.
Understand.
Yeah, understand. Yeah. So I think that's like hugely valuable as well.
How long have you been on your little journey as such? Like when did you sort of dive into?
I've always dabbled with a camera, and I've always been interested in the fishing stuff. So maybe like probably wanted to go the thing like was just like a slow burn to, like you said with your stuff, like I can't remember when it was that actually happened, but I was like, I need to get out of this 9 to 5 nonsense and I need to do something. And I resonated quite well with Cast Mag. I like what they were about. I like the vibe, I like the culture. And I love reading fishing magazines and stuff. So I was like, I want to try this writing shit. So that was like maybe fucking 2013, 2014 or something like that. And I reached out to Cast, got Mick, built that friendship, blah, blah, blah.
That's that Michael Clifford bloke.
That's that fella. Yeah. That cider drinking dog. So that happened, and then obviously all the networking off that and everything. And then I started looking at, because I was looking at their YouTube and their films and everything like that, and I was like, fuck man, I'm gonna get a proper camera and start doing a bit more stuff. And then I got like more affiliated with Cast and started doing more and more film stuff, and ended up jumping on jobs and then built it from that. Yeah. And then I was like, similar to the thing I said with Adrian and me, like I was like, I'm not one of them people that want to work for somebody for the rest of my life. It was a similar situation, sort of, not really, but I was like, yeah, I need to make this my own thing. And I still wanted to work in parallel with Cast. I never wanted to cross over or step in anyone's lanes or cause any problems. So I was like, fucking, how do I do this? And then I was like, basically just grabbed it and I started Flow State Fishing. And it was based around the fishing industry because it's pretty much all I knew. And then I started looking at it objectively to what the business could actually achieve outside of my own personal preference. And then I looked at it, it was like fucking media, like outdoor media, adventure media in the north for starters, because it's like reasonably quiet. And there's a lot of bigger companies that do it, but not specialised in it.
Yep.
So I was like, fuck, I need to crack into that. So then I was like, started Flow State, changed it to Flow State Productions. And then just through fishing and bumping into people and the networking stuff, I got on to Ben Rennie, Will Collins, who was a guy that worked in my building, a young dude, and he's in the marine science, and he's always been a passionate photographer and everything. So I was like, got him involved. I was like, come on some shoots and let's go fishing, and we ended up becoming really good friends. And then Adrian was always someone I wanted to chat to because I've followed him for a long time, and been really enjoyed his stuff. So then it just sort of like, it became what it was before I knew it become anything, sort of thing. So like I
So
thought,
it happened organically.
basically, yeah, like it was fresh as. So I was like, it started off as, I didn't want it to be Wade Kelly fucking videos, whatever you want to call it, or photos. I wanted it to be a thing. I always wanted it to be a thing where I'd leave a legacy.
Yeah, sense of community with it.
Yeah, build a culture around it, build people that like have like a conglomerate of people from blue sky would be all over the world, where they actually enjoyed what I did and everything like that. And then the podcasting come off to the side where I was like, fucking podcasts are cool. Like I listen to them all the time, love them. I was like, maybe I'll get into it because I get to talk to people and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've said this before a fair few times, I guess, but my end goal out of all of this is to be on my deathbed and just have a fucking laptop and a hard drive, man, and just plug shit in and look at all the sick films I've done and like spark up all the memories that I had, because fuck knows I could be like 90 and lost half the memories.
Yeah.
So I'd be able to plug that in and review it all and then plug in the podcast and just let them play till I choke, till I cark it.
Yeah.
And just listen to all the people I talk to and all the people I've met over the years. So it's solely based on fulfillment more than anything else. And then one day, hypothetically, I'm alone and I've got nobody else and I see some other kid and he's trying to fucking get after it in a similar thing that I'm doing, I would be like, here's the business, man. Here's the keys. Off you go.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or
cool.
it could hopefully be my kids, but yeah, that's what I'm after.
Have you found that, I know for myself, the more I've immersed myself within the business side, particularly in the hunting and everything like that, the less of a participant I am with everything else that goes on. Like I used to watch, I don't know how to put this as such, but like as a kid, like I used to watch all the YouTube videos. I used to read all the magazines,
Fucking oath.
like all that sort of stuff. Now, I don't do a thing, man.
No.
I just do it. You know what I mean? Like I've gone from being such an observer to just a participant now in it. Like Jack sits up here like at work when he's doing like custom builds or whatever, and he'll just watch YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video. And it's like, to me, it's like, man, I'd just rather go hunting. And it's like, I don't know what shifted there, but like I'm not up on like, I don't like watch Meat Eater. I don't like watch hunting videos on YouTube. Like I haven't read a hunting magazine in years. And people are like, really? And it's like, nah, I just love going hunting. Like I'd rather be about it than talk about it.
Yep.
I don't know how to quantify it. Are you similar to that or?
Exactly the same, I reckon. Like the fishing industry, I can't remember the last time I watched a fishing YouTube video.
Yeah.
And they're in my feed all the time. And I can't remember the last time I read a fishing magazine or anything. And all I want to do is go fishing. And I used to just be like, it's Friday, when am I fishing this weekend? It's Friday, when am I fishing this weekend? Now I'm like, I'll go fishing when like...
everything's good.
Yeah, when everything's good. And I've like narrowed down. I like all fishing. I used to like all fishing and like froth all of the people and everything like that. But now I'm like so focused on fly fishing goals that like I'll go fly fishing or I won't go fishing type thing.
Yeah.
If the conditions are right for fly fishing, I'll go fly fishing. I still socially fish and stuff with friends and people that are into different stuff. Like I would have loved to go on this weekend chasing marlin and stuff. It's not my jam, but I would have enjoyed it.
Thanks to the nor'easter that came. We were supposed to go chase marlin. Yeah, today. Yeah.
Yeah, but 30 knots and that.
Yeah, it's filth.
Yeah, very exactly the same, man. I watch a heap of like stuff for like my media, and do a lot of like the YouTube that I watch is media based stuff. So
Learning.
like learning, tutorial videos or people that inspire me to grow as a person or as a business owner or whatever else. I don't watch entertainment as much, so to speak.
I've gone on such a, I don't know how to quantify it. It's like with my whole like business entrepreneurial journey, everything like that. It's like I'm not going out and looking for that motivation or anything like that. Like it's never been, I haven't looked towards others and drawn that wisdom or motivation or anything like that. And I'm not saying this is a good thing. Like I think having a business mentor or whatever will probably be a logical step that I'll have down the track. But like as opposed to like getting that motivation or the want to do more or anything like that, I've never had the need to look externally for that.
Yeah.
And I've sort of like everything I've done has been like super organic.
Yeah.
And off my own back. Whether there's merit to that or not, I don't know. Obviously, I could improve myself a lot, I believe, if I referenced others who were successful in like other facets of business or life. But it's been very organic, the direction I've taken, and it hasn't been based off the observation of others or the learning of others or the reading of text or anything like that. It's been very organic and just derived from within my own being, I guess, on the direction I've taken and how I've done it. So I don't even know what to think of that.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I know we're doing good things. I know I'm proud of what we've built and how we've done it. Could it have been better? Yes. Could it have been worse? Yes. But I'd also think define better and define worse.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think like? Do you think that's a one-dimensional way of thinking? Like I respectfully disagree because I'm like I need to know as much as I can to make the most educated decision as possible.
Yep.
Like I still make gut calls and all that sort of stuff, but I'm one of those people that I try not to learn the hard way where I don't have to.
Yep.
So like I've never been short of motivation, same as you. Like I've never needed to like watch a fucking YouTube video to get someone to light a fire in a mast. Yeah, none of that shit. I like trying to figure out what makes those people tick. Like I watch David Goggins' stuff, not all of it. I read his book, and watched a few snippets of his stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you're on a spectrum of definitely is of some description, but you look at his whole story, and it puts a lot of things into perspective. Like it doesn't make me go, I want to be like David Goggins. It gives me a perspective of like mindset and stuff like that. And like the depth of understanding. So like sleep shit, like why I'm always fucking tired.
Yeah.
So I started asking the questions and doing the research. So then I can make lifestyle choices and decisions that are actually going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I like doing that.
Yeah. I can see
And I don't think either's right or wrong.
like the education side of things, but it's like you speak about David Goggins, for example. Who the fuck does he look at to get motivation? He's just doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? He's just doing it.
And the one thing I picked up from him was he doesn't give a fuck about, in a way, like a fuck about the physical fitness side of it. Like he doesn't care about that. He cares about the mental toughness of it.
Yeah.
Doing it to make you mentally tough.
Yeah. But that's what I'm sort of getting at. Like he's just doing it. He's not reaching for a source of motivation or inspiration or anything like that. That's just what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, who does David Goggins look up on YouTube?
But he's yeah, I understand what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you think it, but then do you come to the conclusion that like, was there no one else doing it at the time so he had no one to reference?
I don't know. I think there's a beauty in being able to be self-driven like that regardless at a basal level.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like without having to look externally for it, that desire to grow or do more is there organically, naturally. And I think that's there for me. Like obviously I'll look into things and try and make the best decisions possible and all that sort of stuff. But I find it weird. Like I'm not looking for that extra edge from someone else or anything like that. Like it comes very natural to me to want to do more without having to go searching for that.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I definitely don't need the to do that stuff to get motivated or drive or anything. Normally I've made my decision already, but I just want, and I don't need to do that shit for me to be able to say yes or be able to say no. It's more I've said yes and no, but I want to know why I said yes or no.
Yeah.
And I want to know if my decision is justified. Like I might be like, yes, it's good, but I'm like, there's something a little bit funny about it, so I'll go and research it.
Yeah. Having perspective on your decisions is always great.
Yeah.
And being able to look at both sides, the yes and the no, the positive and the negative, I think there's a lot of power in that, you know what I mean? If you can remove yourself from your decision and look at it as an outsider.
Emotional-based decisions are destined to fail.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. And I think knowing both sides of why you're doing something, that's very powerful. If you can remove yourself and look at a decision you make and go, if I done it this way, this is why, and if I done it the other way, this is why, and knowing the thought processes behind it, that's very powerful, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people go, yep, this is why I'm doing it just cause. It's like, okay, quantify that to me. You can't, can you?
No.
It's like, so maybe there's actually a better or a more logical way you can tackle this problem, but you're just not willing to have that conversation with yourself. You're not willing to discuss the hard truths or go, maybe just drop your ego for a second.
Yeah.
You're afraid to admit X, Y, Z. You know? So I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, 100%. So where does that sit with you, like, regardless of all your motivation and drive and everything, where does that sit with you in decision making? So, like, you go, this is a good idea, but I know fucking nothing about it. You obviously do your research, yeah?
Yep.
Do you do it extensive to the point of where, like it's almost not necessary?
No, I'm not about paralyzing myself.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like they talk about paralysis by analysis, where people are so hung up on perfecting something
and you're on the hamster wheel for, I'm
that's right.
like that.
And I think by the time, and you spend so much time there and you stagnate and the idea goes or it becomes null and void or irrelevant, I'm more about the doing.
Yeah.
And learning through doing and figuring things out, because it will become very apparent to you if you're doing the right things or not when you start. Obviously, and I think with business there's a bit of a blueprint or formula to branding and community and building all that sort of stuff up. And once you've got that figured out, which I have to an extent, you know, I'm no expert on anything, but
copy paste.
You do the same things over and over and apply it to a different principle. Yeah. It's going to work most of the time, you know. So you apply those sorts of things and then tweak it as you're going and keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. To me, the most important thing is starting.
Shit, yeah.
You know what I mean? So many people just don't start because they're not ready yet, not ready yet.
Should have, would have.
Yeah, it's like just fucking start, figure it out. If you make a mistake, you're going to know.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I'm more about within reason doing that. But obviously, the more things you do, the less mistakes you make down the track.
Yeah.
And you become better and more efficient at it.
Yeah.
You know, like starting Ozcut, I started that back to front, man. Like I was so, like, I had no idea what I was doing. Like I knew nothing about business, branding, people, products, marketing. I knew nothing. And then bring it back 5 years later when I started Nexus, I launched that motherfucker in a tenth of the time and done it 20 times more successfully. Yeah. Because I knew what I was doing. Yeah. I could just apply it. Similar concept, but different, but just apply all those same principles to it and it works. Yeah. You know, and then you apply that to the next business and then the next one, then the next one. Yeah. And you get a lot better.
It's an optimization. And that's where like the research stuff that I was preaching about just before is like I do a lot of that to optimize time, not necessarily return. It's more, it's time, pretty much time. I'll just say it as time because it's pretty much all it is like I'll do my research to optimize performance to optimize time. Yeah. So yeah, the sleep one obviously, and I'm not a details orientated person. Like it sounds like I sort of am, I guess, but contradictory is I'm not. Like the book thing, I think the reason why I dislike books is because you get all your information and it's like all this fucking information. Whereas I prefer to just be like, the book say, you do this, this happens. You do this, this happens. And all of the nitty gritty, I don't need to know. Mm-hmm. But then I contradict myself because the sleep thing, because I'm just using that because we've already spoken about it. Like I went into detail for that because I wanted to know all the ins and outs. I got down to like, obviously like a fucking chemical level, hormone, like a brain chemical level with it, because I felt like that was the amount of detail that I needed for it to be 100% successful.
I see you as a very curious person, though. And
Heaps, yeah.
You want to milk the most out of everything. And that's why you're doing that, though. You're very curious, and your desire to know more and learn more is very apparent. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think
I can
so.
just pick up, you know what I mean? That's why you're going to that extent with
Yeah.
it. For me, it's there in some aspects, and others it's not. I can't really put my finger on why.
I can't put my finger on why I'm the way I am either, because there's some other things, like I've never really fucked around with decisions. I've always been like, I'm going to do it and just do it. But in the same breath, I like knowing all about it, or all about something, something off to the side that could mildly affect it, that probably not even necessary, but I wouldn't mind knowing about it.
Yep.
And it's not nonsense knowledge, it's always applied knowledge. Yeah, and I can't put my finger on. I think it's just personality, I guess.
Oh, yeah, and your personality traits that are so deep-seated within your DNA, like you're not going to be able to know nor change them. It's just who you
There's
are
no answer.
as a person.
And neither's right or wrong.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's all personal perspective. Like what is right, what is wrong comes down to...
Well, the way you make decisions is obviously working, so why change it?
Yeah, that's right. But also, don't be scared to look at things with a different perspective as well.
Yeah, shit, yeah. You still have to be objective regardless of how you do that.
Yeah, and that's growth, though. You know what I mean?
Shit, yeah.
Like, I look at decisions I made 2 years ago and go, what the fuck was I doing? Dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb. And then, but at the time you go, yeah, this is the right decision.
Yep.
And you as long as you can look back on that and grow from it, that's all you can ask for, you know? Like, man, like, where will I be in 10 years' time? The knowledge that will I look back at myself in this time period and go, you're an idiot? I probably will.
Most likely.
Yeah, of course. But that's all from that life experience and learning that we all have.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable.
Fucking oath it is.
It's really inevitable.
Yeah, proper. It's a rabbit hole, but
It is.
like, especially when like these sort of conversations happen where it's like a respectful disagreement, and it's not even a disagreement, it's just two different perspectives, and you're trying to like nut out the one common denominator between the two because they both work.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out what the fucking reasoning is to it, and you can't. It's almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
You can pull out little bits and pieces of info, but never anything.
It's human
down.
psychology, man.
Yeah, I don't even
like-
think there's an answer to that yet. Like, I don't think the book's been closed on that. I don't think it ever will be, because it'll constantly develop as we evolve.
Oh, for sure. And are we evolving in the right direction? I don't
Fuck
know.
knows, man.
I don't think so.
No, yeah, still fucking meatheads, really.
But when you like take it all back, it's like all our problems in the world, all the stresses and everything like that. It's like we're just on a floating rock. We're all going to die.
Yeah,
Like, just
Eventually.
think about that, and like that'll probably give you a bit of perspective.
fuck yeah.
You know, like if you're stressed about something, think about that, and that'll put a lot of things in perspective for you.
A perspective on a global scale too, man. Like, we're a fucking very lucky country.
Yeah.
Regardless of the dickheads running the show. Like, we're a very, very lucky country, even with a disconnected government. At least we've got a functioning government.
Yeah.
Within reason. Yeah, like, I think a lot of people do that too, and they get so worked up and locked into their own little sphere that they just forget that their shit ain't that bad, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you could be in a third world country struggling to have drinking water.
Yeah. Like, that's...
Imagine how fucked that. I couldn't imagine that. You know, like I go on the hardest of hunting trips, and I've got that,
Yeah.
and that's me putting myself out there,
Yeah.
toughing it.
Yeah. You definitely need a broad perspective and look like, emotional based decisions are always poor ones.
Yeah.
I think anyway, because normally most of those decisions, like if you start thinking small scale, they are emotional based. Like the fucking exercise thing, like, oh, it hurts, it's painful, I don't like it, and you're like, I'm going to quit.
All true facts,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah. 100%. And you're like, my brain's telling me I want to quit. But the long term is you're going to be better for it. Yeah, and you need to like look at a perspective. You go, fuck, it hurts right now, but like if I keep doing this, in 3 months' time, I'm going to look like this, and I'm going to feel like this, or I'm going to have lost all this weight. I'm going to be this much fitter. I'm going to be ready to do this, or I can achieve this. But people get so engrossed in the 5 minutes.
now.
Yeah, the 5 minutes from now and now. Yeah,
And I think that's a societal thing though, like where everything is faster in
It is.
life. You know what I mean? Like everything's available
Yeah.
so much quicker now. Everything's at our disposal.
Mm.
Like you don't even need to leave your home now to go get takeaway food. Like
No.
it comes to your door.
You
Like,
can every cafe now you order off your QR code on a table. You don't have to worry about any. There's no personalism anymore. Man.
Yeah, and everything's so just there and now, that
Yeah.
instant. And look, even with social media, like the gratification from that, like it's instant, you know? It's like you upload a photo, you get likes. It's like there's that little dopamine hit for
Yeah.
you, you know, that straight away. And I think that's conditioned us to want that immediate result, I guess. And that makes it a lot harder for people to put themselves through that long-term struggle for that result when so many things in life are just now.
Yeah.
To put yourself out there for that long term, it's like, oh, do I sacrifice 12 months to be a healthier version of me? Fuck that, it's too hard.
Yeah. And it's not.
No,
it's
not.
actually, in the grand scheme of being a human, it's not that fucking hard. Like you look back at, not that long ago, we were hacking each other to pieces with fucking axes and swords, man.
Yeah.
Like, and
Couple generations back.
yeah, not far. And like, look how far we've come in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's because of those, like I like it like a fucking 90-10, like 90% of people are sheep and the 10% of people that aren't are the ones who make the difference. Like there's been the 10% of people over history that have wanted to learn and wanted to grow and wanted to understand. Like the Einsteins and all those motherfuckers that are doing like out of this box, out of the world type shit at the time. And it's shaped humanity as it is today.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And I think that number is shrinking. I think it's about 2 to 98 right now, I think.
I'd agree.
Like the rest are just on the train to pay the taxes, you know?
Yeah.
Like that whole herd mentality. Totally agree, bro. Totally agree.
Yeah.
But I think that's also a good thing because it makes the remarkable people stand out even more.
100%. And all the cogs have still got to turn. Like there's still got to be people contributing in the economy. Like we all contribute to the economy and all that in one way or another. But like
innovation though that's the different thing.
It's rare as shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I take my hat off to the people like who like dedicate their life to study and things like that. Like I could not do it.
No.
I could not do it, you know, and whether that's a selfish thing or whatever, it's like for me to dedicate myself to like studying a concept. But I guess I do like.
There's similarities in it though.
There is similarities, but it's like, is one for the common good of people or is one for the common good of Nicholas? Like, am I being selfish by trying to live the best life I physically can? Or should I be engrossing myself into the betterment of humanity?
Yeah.
Or, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a few ethical factors there.
It depends how you want to scale it because let's look at Ozcut. So you objectively have made an arrowhead better.
I've added value.
Yeah. So you've added value to an industry which has benefited people, which has benefited hunting.
Yeah.
So that versus a guy in, fuck knows, astrophysicist.
Yeah.
And he's there and he wants to perfect this theory that no one else has been able to perfect to be able to allow us to travel backwards in time or some fucked up shit.
Yeah. Someone studying cancer or...
Yeah, like someone... I'm pretty sure there's cures for cancer.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, yeah, exactly the same thing. But does the scale of what you've done or the scale of what he done outweigh each other? I don't think so.
Yeah, and it's all personal perspective as well. You know what I mean? I know I somewhat have a selfish perspective on life because I only get one of them.
Fuck yeah.
It's like I want to live the best life that I physically can
People
live.
mistake self-confidence, though, for ego. A lot of times.
A lot of the time, yeah. Yeah,
I think.
There is that. Like, I want to help as many people as I can. I want to see people be happy and all things like that. But if I'm not living my best life, it's like I can't do that to the full extent anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, time is such a precious thing for me. Like, I really value time.
Man, same.
Like, really, really value it, you know, and I really understand the context that it's finite, you know, like it's going to run out one day.
Yeah.
So, for me, I want to live my best life. I want to lead the best fucking life I can. I want to have as many memories.
What's your end game?
Just live a good life, bro. Just live.
What byproduct? What's the fall off? What's the aftermath of Nick Morton dying? What does he leave?
There's nothing.
What does he leave? Nothing.
A legacy of good memories. Like, I'm not about leaving a legacy or anything like that because ultimately, like, I'm not here anymore. Like, while I'm here, I want to have the best time I can. I want to be surrounded with the people that I do the things that I enjoy. I want to physically make the most out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to live an enriched life.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to take it and really grasp it and live it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to do, man.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people want to do that after it's too late.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
I want to do it the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to get to 60 and then go, I'll start traveling. It's like, I want to have done so much shit.
Three-quarters of your life's gone by the time you're 60, man.
The best part of your life as well, where you're active and you're healthiest and everything like that. That's if you're lucky enough to get to that age.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not guaranteed.
No.
Like, a lot of people take it for granted. It's not.
And then you say, oh, you're going to die. And then people are like, oh, you're so fucking morbid. Don't talk like that.
But it's like,
you are going to die, motherfucker. You're going to die.
Yeah. And that to me is a big thing. It's like, time's going to run out one day. Time's going to run out and you get no more second chances. You can't do that shit again.
Yeah, then what? That's it.
That's it. You're done. So for me, that sits at the forefront of my mind with everything I do. It's like, and I think that, again, like we spoke about me being all in on something or not, that's that whole mindset there.
Yeah.
So if I want to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it to the fullest.
Yeah.
So that's, I've always been like that, and I think it's only going to get more sided with that or more weighted with that. Like, everything I do, I'm all in with it.
Do you think you'll make a long-term difference or change the direction or make a new direction of the industries that you're involved in? Like long-term, like I'm talking after you're dead.
Don't know. I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have helped and shaped how people do things in those industries. Yeah. I think that would be good. But even regardless, if I haven't, I'll go to bed soundly.
Yeah.
If I don't.
100%.
You know
well, you
what I
can't. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah. Sure. Like, I'm proud of what I've achieved so far and everything like that. Would I go back and do things differently? For sure.
Fuck yeah, you would.
Would I go back and not do it again? No way.
Yeah.
Like, you've only got every day, and how you live every day or every last moment is what you are at that present time, you know? So, like, I'm proud of the direction I'm going, what we're doing. I'm content with it. I want more, obviously.
Yeah.
You know? But am I proud of it? Hell yeah.
Fuck, you definitely should be, man. I want to make these types of conversations and this kind of information mainstream.
Yeah.
I want to make everyone think about it, regardless of whether you're a fucking whatever job. Doesn't even matter what job. The most basic, mundane job in the entire world. I want to make that this information part of your general thought process.
Bit of critical thinking.
Fucking oath.
Yeah. Because it does wonders for you.
Man, it
Question your existence.
fucking not many people do anymore.
No.
Yeah, well, I don't see them doing it anymore.
It's because it's easy not to. Why? Fear, uncertainty, doubt, all that sort of stuff. It's the unknown. Why would you expose yourself to that?
Yep.
Why would you take yourself away from the comfortable job you got? Like, your bills are being paid. Like,
But that's what people don't realize. It's not fucking comfortable, because you're comfortable when your pay comes in, and then by the end of the week your pay's gone.
yeah,
Then you're not comfortable no more.
Yeah.
Or you got a big bill, or your fucking car has an accident, you got to pay an insurance fucking excess or some shit. You're never truly fucking comfortable. Or you go, oh, I want $1 million house. So you work, you bust your ass, and you forget about all of those fucking 5-10 years that you just spent busting your ass. You forget that's even part of the process. You don't enjoy any of it. So you've lost that 10 years of your life wasted. You get your $1 million house, and then you're like, fuck, I just spent 10 years of my life getting this. I don't even like it.
yeah,
Or I want a $1.5 million house or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, comfortability. Comfort. Fuck me. I made that a lot harder than it had to be. Is not real, man. It's not permanent.
No.
It is real. It's not permanent.
yeah. And I think what's uncomfortable for me, man, is
Being comfortable.
is being dictated to. Like, I'll live this life on my own. Like, this is my life.
We all are to a degree, though.
We are, but also
The most disconnected you can be.
it's like, if I want to do something, I will go and do it. It's
Fuck
like,
yeah.
what you ask 90% of people what are they doing on Tuesday in 3 weeks' time, they're at work. What am I doing? Realistically, whatever the fuck I want. If I want to go and do something, I'll go and do it. If I want to work, I'll go to work.
Yep.
If it's good for hunting that day, I'm going to go hunting. If I want the day off, I'll have the day off. All those implications directly affect me, whether it's positive or negative, but ultimately it's me deciding.
Yep.
That's what I want, you know. For someone else to say, oh, you have to put in a form to not be at work for 4 days.
I need to ask a grown man permission to take time to live my own fucking life recreationally. Fuck that shit.
Go and fuck yourself.
I'm off at 8.
That to me was a big one.
And then the cunts come back and they say, oh, nah, man, like,
You can't.
you can't.
Sorry. I remember towards the end of when I was working in the mines, it got pretty bad. And like, I was a really hard worker there, and I took a lot of pride in my work. And like, I was fully committed to it. But in the end, it was like, I had expos to go to or whatever, and I'd like put a leave form in, and it'd get denied, and I'd be like, well, I'll just let you know I'm not here on these days, whether it's approved or not. I'm not going to be here. And they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, okay, just letting you know I'm not going to be here on these days. You know, and it got to that point, and like, by the time I was that far down the rabbit hole, it was like there was no coming back from it. It's like, you cannot tell me when I can or when I have to be at a certain place and that I'm allowed to have time off on these days, or I get X amount. And I remember I was casual, and they're like, oh, your leave's not approved. And I was like, I'm casual. I don't get holidays. It's like, you can dictate when I work. I'll dictate when I work to you as well.
Yep.
You know, there was that mindset, and like, I was so far gone by that point.
That's always going to be a recipe for it. I mean, like, when that shit happens, you know you're not meant for the 9 to 5.
Yeah. Oh, man, like, I was so deep in it then. And it's funny, like, how I come to leaving my job. It was like in the middle of the year, so like June, July or something. And I was planning to go minimum Christmas, maybe January, February, March, like another 6 or 9 months I had. And I said to my boss, I'm like, they were pretty good about it. And they're like, when are you going to leave? When are you going to leave? Because they knew it was going to happen eventually. And I was like, look, I'll tell you, I'll give you all the notice. And I was working out at Narrabri, so about 5 hours from Newcastle. And what I was doing was I was getting up at 1 in the morning, and I'd travel out to work, do a 12-hour shift, stay out there for 3 or 4 days, 5 days if I'd done overtime, and then travel home. And then I was running the business when I was back here. And I was just depressed. I was so depressed. I'd drive out to work. I'd get so anxious, and I was just hating it. I wasn't sleeping. I was stressed. It was a horrible time in my life. And I remember one day the alarm went off. I had all my stuff packed. It was like 1:15 in the morning. I got in the car and I sat in the car. Could not bring myself to start the car. Couldn't do it. Went inside, paced around for 10 minutes, come back outside, went to get in the car, and just went, I can't do this anymore. Rang up, won't be in today. Went back to bed, woke up, and resigned.
Yep.
And that was how I done it. I just threw the bucket.
Yep.
Just went, I can't do it anymore. And that's how it happened, man. Like, it was just, and I was like, holy fuck, I've just left my job to go do this full time. What the fuck am I doing?
Yep.
But here we are.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, fucking oath, man. And sometimes it has to happen like that. It has to. You just have to have that little fucking nudge to take the jump. I don't think I'll be like that. Like with the project management stuff that I'm doing, I think I'll end up like, I'm a free man with that anyway. But I think what I'll end up doing is like, I want to build the media company to outgrow that, obviously. So I think like I've got a more strategic approach where it'll probably it might end up getting like yours, where I'm just fucking sick of it. I'm like, nah, shit, can it. But I think what I plan on doing is outgrowing, have the media company outgrow the project management stuff, so it phases off to nothing. And it's just clean. It's like that
was my plan as well.
A clean transition. I'd like to think it's tracking that way, but I'd like to think it's gonna do that, but I don't know if it will.
You'll only know when you're looking back, bro.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
the only way you can find out when you're looking back on it. But
100%.
Again, there's no right or wrong.
Nah,
it's like whatever you do and you make good things happen out of it. That's all that matters.
And like as a disclaimer, and I think I can speak for you too, is there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5 shit.
No, fuck.
If you enjoy it and it makes you happy,
it's all personal preference.
100%. Yeah,
it's like everything that I've said is spoken from my perspective.
Yeah, and
spoken from my perspective, and I'm wanting to do things that make me happy. You know, by all means, if you're happy doing something, that's amazing. That's beautiful. But question, are you really happy or do you really know what that is as well? I think if you haven't done that, then you can't just put your hand on your heart and say, yeah, I'm happy and I'm content doing what I'm doing. If you haven't seen both sides of it, or you can't fully question and articulate why you're doing it.
Seek to be better every day.
Yeah.
And whether it be your 65 years of work and outside of that you're just chasing self-betterment and work just is paying the bills and you're happy doing that, then fucking that's good enough for anybody.
100%.
And you should be proud of that regardless of what job you got or anything. Like if you focus on being better every day, a better human being every day, a better yourself, and I think you like set up to win.
Oh, for sure, man. And that correlate, and that will sort of amplify itself in all areas of life regardless.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to be a better person or just be better in general, that's going to amplify itself in all aspects of your life.
We look at Cameron Haynes. The dude still works a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Works a 9 to 5 because he thinks a job is a privilege.
Yeah.
Like I disagree with that. And you probably do. You probably definitely do.
Definitely do.
Yeah. But like he thinks it's a privilege and he's quite happy doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And still,
with everything else on top.
yeah. And he's quite happy with that. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're all individuals, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, just like life's short, fucking make sure you're happy. Make sure you're getting something out of it. Like that's the main thing. Like get something out of it. Like get some fulfillment out of it and make sure you know what's out there. And like it's a big world. There's so many things and so many possibilities out there, so many opportunities, so many things that can bring you happiness.
Yeah.
You need to try it to understand it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to know.
Open-mindedness, man.
Yeah, 100%. Like don't be scared to live your life. Like don't just go, this is my life, that's it forever. Like
question shit, man.
yeah, question things.
Yeah.
Think independently.
Yes.
It's such a skill and an asset to be able to do and can put you in such a better place in your life if you do that.
Yeah.
And that's me speaking from experience.
Yeah, and like it carries on because like you go around, you get in with that mindset and you work on that mindset and you work on that self-betterment. The flow-on effect, it flows onto your relationships, it flows on to your friends, your family, your work, your everything.
Yeah.
And it gives you more opportunities to make more decisions and further benefit. Like it's a snowball, man. Like once you start down that path and it's like it starts to become ingrained, which like with me now, it's like this just who I am and how I think. It progressively gets bigger and bigger and faster. So like your personal progression is even quicker. And that's that same thing where like in a short amount of time I've come so, in my personal opinions, I've come so far. And the distance between me and other people and other friends and stuff has gotten so wide so quickly because I've grown so quick.
Yeah.
And that's not coming from like an ego or big noting myself or anything. I personally know that I've grown so fast, so quick, and I'm very happy with the growth. Like it's positive growth. It's not negative growth.
Yeah. And but as long as at the end of the day, it's like, if you're happy and content with it, that's all that matters. Like you don't have to worry about the distance between you or others or anything like that. It's like knowing in yourself, like knowing in your true self that you're doing it for the right reasons and you're happy. Like you don't need to justify it. It's like just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep fucking doing it. And if like you'll find that people will disagree with it or whatever, but you keep doing it organically and for the right reasons and for yourself, eventually you'll have the right people surrounding you anyway. It'll happen. You know? Like if you keep growing, keep pushing and expanding and things like that, people will come into your circle similar to you. Like,
Patience, man. Patience is another one.
you got to play the long game.
Fucking always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like life's short, but you've got to play the long game. You know?
have
like,
to.
I think good things don't just happen overnight.
Fuck no.
You gotta
Business
make
especially.
No, fucking definitely not. Bad things can happen overnight.
Yeah.
Good things definitely not.
Yeah. If you go in there with the right mindset, good things will happen.
100%. Man,
I think.
100%.
Fucking, we should get to some questions. We haven't actually talked much about hunting at all.
I haven't hunted in about 6 weeks now.
Except how deers are better than pigs
Fuck
or
off.
whatever it's meant to be.
Do you even have any questions for me?
I think I got a few. I got a few dickheads. Like I always get a handful of fucking stupid shit.
We covered who's the better looking Doomstus and why is it James.
We've covered that one. That fucking this Lord of the Rings shit wigs me out, eh?
What's that? Greatest film of all time.
Which one?
Oh, all of them. Just all of them.
I can't.
You come hunting with me, bro, at the hut, you have to watch The Lord of the Rings.
Man, I've watched them countless times, but not like
Good man.
Not recently. I enjoy it. Like, and it's a fucking great series of films.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And like, I'm a big fan of lore, like LORE.
Yeah.
Like depth to like fictional movies and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of like depth to it.
Yeah, okay.
And side stories and shit, like
Yeah.
shit that like adds so much more dynamic to it.
It has such a storyline, backstory, and so many like side stories to it. Like it's so well.
Well, how the Hobbit was created after Lord of the Rings, and it's a precursor to the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like that shit's cool, man.
So good, yeah.
I rate that. Fucking nerd. Nah. So we're gonna cover the fucking. Aiden asked, favorite Lord of the Rings scene, and why is it when Gimli says, "I cannot jump the distance"?
You have to toss me. Is that what he wanted me to say? I think.
I cannot jump the distance. Fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
That was from New Zealand, wasn't it?
That takes us back to New Zealand, yeah. Fuck. We got flooded in both times. I hunted in New Zealand with them boys. Aiden, I call him the rainmaker. Every fucking time he comes hunting, it is just monsoonal rain. Like every single time. We got flooded in New Zealand twice. He's come hunting in the mountains. The first time we didn't have past 50 metres viz for 7 days. It was fogged in and rained every single day. And then the second time when we hunted in the mountains, it was rain every single day, basically, like torrential rain. And I was just like, you are fucked. Called him the rainmaker.
Fucking hell. Yeah, well, we went out on that hunting trip and we were playing like random fucking medieval Lord of the Rings music, like instrumental shit. It was fucking...
Yeah, that stemmed from us hunting in New Zealand. So we're weirdos, man.
Yeah, it's fucking different, eh? I don't dislike it. I'll get around it. Like
It'll grow on you.
It makes sense. It probably definitely is going to have to, I suppose, because I'm going to be hunting with them a fair bit. Dan Clancy, he's a mad bow hunting frother. He's a fully outdoorsman. Absolutely slays Murray cod.
I know Mr. Clancy.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
spoken on the phone to him a few times.
Oh, nice. He's a fucking legend, man.
He's a good man.
Very, very good man. Very skilled fisherman, and I'm pretty sure he got a bow into bow hunting. Yeah. He's got 3 actually, 3 good ones. Any regrets in business or paths taken?
Not taking more risks sooner. Not being as aggressive when I started as I am now. Because I think that would have compounded where I am now. I think it's not a regret. It's looking back on.
But were you not
hindsight.
ready to make like?
No, I was scared.
Yeah,
I was scared.
Were you not at
dipping my toe in the water?
Yeah,
I wasn't at that point. So it's hindsight. Like I don't have any regrets as such. No, I don't have any regrets because I've learnt from everything. Like everything's made me. You need to make mistakes to learn. Ultimately, like some of my best lessons have come from mistakes because you won't do them again. So I wouldn't say I have any regrets in business thus far.
What if you took that path earlier and you weren't ready for it then it was a failure and
it could have been.
Yeah, any of the shit.
It could have been, but I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, true. And that's a perspective thing. Yeah, right.
No, there's nothing that like I've done that's like blatantly failed or been a drastic. Yeah, big negative. So yeah, there's no regrets to it. There's no paths I wish I didn't take.
Yep.
I mean, I would have liked to have started sooner. I would have liked to have had this mindset sooner, but the life experiences I've had have given me that. Yeah. So I've kind of needed to live the life I have to get to this point anyway. It's so hard, that one, man. But
it is is it?
Yeah.
So, well, answer it non-objectively. So, like, it is for what it is, like that exact question without putting anything into perspective.
No
Do you have any?
regrets.
Nothing?
No.
Nothing. Yeah, I don't think so either for myself. No, other than starting sooner. Like,
no, I've got none.
Yeah, because you're damn right. Like, it shapes your life experience, shapes who you are. Yeah, and you're ready when you're ready.
That's right.
I think. His other one, biggest goal for hunting, money aside.
Just in general, if I can do more of it. Do more hunting. No, there's a few bucket list hunts I would like to do. I'd definitely like to get back over to Africa as soon as I can. I want to do some more North American hunting, like get back over and do some pack hunting trips for elk and mule deer and all that sort of stuff. That's just a given. There's a hunt in Uzbekistan that I've got lined up to do. They've got big mountain boars over there that get to like 350 kilos.
Those big shaggy motherfuckers, eh?
Yeah, big Eurasian boars. So that's a hunt I'd like to do. Obviously, a lot more in New Zealand. I'd like to do a lot more traveling and hunting throughout life, just adventure in more places, like a lot more pack hunting trips and a lot more exotic style hunts, like alpine style hunts, I guess. So a lot more of that stuff. But yeah, just do more of it, like I just enjoy it while I do it. There's no real like number one bucket list hunt or anything. I just want to do a lot of it and experience or travel the world and see that, like get out there and experience different things whilst doing what I'm passionate about, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the same with fishing as well. Like there's a few trips I want to do around the world and stuff like that. And just, I guess, seeing the world whilst you're doing what you're passionate about is pretty cool.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Man. Yeah. I'll answer them while I'm gone. I don't think they directed me to answer them anyway. But mine probably at this stage, like answering it from right now, would have to be a trophy of some description off my own back in the near future, say 3 years time, within 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
Like I decide when I go, I decide where I'm going, and I do all of my own research to find whatever it is, and nail it and get a trophy animal.
Yeah. Oh man, you put yourself to it, it'll happen. There'll be a lot of zeros in between, but it'll happen. Yeah.
Same with everything, I think. Another awesome one. Any interest in business outside of your immediate interests? Or is that the key to your success or / progress?
Yes, but I would find it very hard to be invested in it.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of fingers in pies at the moment, but they're all things that I'm passionate about, and it's not a struggle for me to do.
Yep.
There's a few investment things that I'm wanting to look into and things like that, but everything I'm doing now is almost a passion project as well.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do. Obviously, like some commercial investment and things like that, I'll start dabbling in a bit more of.
Yep.
But aside from venture-wise, no.
Yeah.
Unless I was a minority shareholder in a business or just a strategic partner or something like that, you're not going to see me forming any businesses outside of what I'm passionate about. Like I'm too far down the rabbit hole now.
Yeah.
And obviously I think there's a lot of money to be made in all facets of business, but I've had it too good and I'm surrounded by what I'm passionate about. It would be so hard to take my attention to like if I can sell windows or something, you know what I mean? Something you're not passionate about.
Because you're cutting time off the things you're passionate about to pursue something you're not. It's almost an impossibility. Once you've already started down the road, I think it is for me anyway, apart from NFTs.
Fucking NFTs, bro.
Oi,
I say this now.
Man, they're fucking good.
We need a 3-hour podcast just to talk about cryptocurrency.
It's a rabbit hole, hey.
Oh, it's so yuck.
I wonder if it'll stay around. Like NFTs, I don't even know either. Like they're a weird.
I think NFTs, the function of an NFT will stay around, but the actual concept of what they are or the substance of what they are will evolve to suit an actual utility in time.
Yeah.
Like I think everyone.
Sorry, you go.
Everyone buying all these crypto punks and all these 10,000 JPEGs. 10,000 is the limit of things you can create on Photoshop. That's why every collection has 10,000, because that's the limit of what Photoshop can make. Like, I think the utility of that will disappear one day and the value of that will...
Yeah, well, didn't that... I can't remember the name of it, what it is. It was a school or something that made these NFTs, and a Singaporean businessman company bought one for like $69 million, and it's because it was like a huge amount of pixels, and they had it to like make a huge thing on the side of their building or something. But they bought it as an artwork, basically.
Yeah.
Because there's all different sorts. Like there's artwork, collectibles. There's stuff that gives you tickets. So like,
it's all about the ownership.
Yeah. But I can confidently say they make a fucking lot of money.
Oh, they do, particularly now. Like
you gotta be on it though, like on the ball.
Yeah.
No different to stock.
Oh, for
and
sure.
it moves the crypto market too. So if you see big sales and shit in NFTs, a lot of stuff's in Ethereum, and if you see a lot of a lot of big sales in a short amount of time, the cryptocurrency market actually moves. Yeah, which is pretty interesting. I like it, but it's not a. I think it's going to be short term for me.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I just see it as a good way, like a bit of a hot dollar. So we answered that one. So this is from Ben Gledhill. He's a bit of a legend, this kid. I grew up with his missus' sister, and I've chatted to him for years. and his missus' sister and whatever from where I grew up. And I was back there at home one day, and he was working for his missus' old man. And I'm good mates with him, known him for a lot of years and done some work for him myself. And I was there catching up with him and everything. And I seen him and I waved to him, and he like full balked me. Like, and I was like, fuck, did I do something up? Did I not reply to one of his messages? Or was he like, did I say something that he didn't like, or what the go was? And I was like, was half stressed about it because he's only a young dude. And then I end up speaking to the sister that I said, and he's like, no, he was just fucking nervous, which is weird. Do you find that? Like, I still see myself as the same person. And
a little bit. I get a little bit of that sometimes.
It's weird, man. I don't want to be treated like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just a funny story. He'll laugh when he hears that, if he even listens to my podcast. How did you first get into bow hunting?
Oh man, it was such a natural progression. Like there was no defining moment that got me into bow hunting. So I grew up, we had a little bit of property, and I always grew up like when I was like 4, I'd just be off like adventuring in the bush, just exploring and whatnot. And as a kid, I started like making bows out of bits of conduit and like bamboo skewers and stuff, and I like started shooting rabbits and shit like that. And it just snowballed from there. I was always so curious about it and wanted to do it. I had no family members who hunted or anything. Dad used to shoot back in the day with guns, but handed his guns back in the 93 buyback and everything like that. That's when I was born. So I had no one to take me hunting or anything like that. So all through my like young years, I just wanted to go hunting so badly. And all I had was a bow, obviously. And that want and desire and not having the privilege to do it, once I was able to start going hunting, like as soon as I got my Ps, I was off door knocking, got access to hunting land, things like that. It was such a privilege, and it was something I just wanted to do for so long. It was something I cherished so much, and it just grew on me, man. Like it started organically. No one got me into it. As I said, I just started from when I was young. It's just something I've always done, always wanted to do. And when I did get to do that, it was a massive privilege. And I just stuck with it, and it just snowballed, man. It's like I'll never get out of it.
Yeah, that's very similar.
Bow hunter for life, man.
That's very similar to me with fishing. I think I've fished for as long as I've been a fucking live.
Yeah.
But like the proper tipping point for me, like I've always loved fishing and always been doing it. But when I got first car and then I could buy a boat.
Yeah, freedom.
So, man, fucking hell, I run some hours up on that first tinny, I tell you. Scariest moment you've had bow hunting?
That'd be in New Zealand for sure. So for those who have hunted New Zealand, it's about as steep as it gets. And this was on my first trip, so I was probably a bit too excited. And I remember I sort of bluffed myself out following this bull up, way up high. And basically that means you can't go any higher. And where I'd come up, it was sort of like a rock shelf at like 90 degrees to each other. Kind of like sort of shimmying up like the side of a wall, like my back on one side, my feet on the other, and I shimmied up this rock wall. And I couldn't go down it because there was too much of a drop. And the only other way around, I was on this bit of a knoll, and it was just sort of scree cliffs and just drop offs and bluffs all around me, and icy like sort of snow sheets. And I walked around, and there was a bit of a point, and it sort of dropped off a little bit and went down, and there was would have been about a 1.8 or a sort of 2 meters like gap in between the next bit of grass, and in between that was just like a big chute, probably like 60, 80 meters down into the never. And it was like a smooth rock face, and it had water rolling over it. And so if you imagine I'm on this bit of an edge, and it had 2 little rocks coming out of it where the water was running over, and one I could put my left boot down on and one I could put my right boot down on. So I was basically sitting where this water was running on this rock shelf, and I had to jump across to the right, probably like 1.5, 2 meters, something like that to my right. But this rock shelf that I was sitting on, it sloped down and just went off into a drop-off eventually. So it was just kind of like a convex just drop-off on the end. And I'd get down there, and I'd put my feet on it, and I'd lean back, and my pack was sort of pushing me forward from this rock face. And I knew I had to throw my weight. I had to put my weight on my feet and then throw myself across to this next little grass knoll to get to where I needed to go. Anyway, long story short, I ummed and ahed about it, like it was super sketchy, and I fucking wasn't happy about being there. I put myself in a shit situation. Aiden and James were hunting elsewhere and I was hunting on my own. I texted them where I was. I'm like, I'm going across this sketchy crossing, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I sat there and I finally got the courage to I had to push off and jump to the side. And as I've pushed off, my feet have slipped off these rocks and shot down. And I just remember I sort of slipped and fell, and I half sort of fucking threw myself across this opening and swung. I had an ice axe in one hand. I swung around, and it dug into the bank that I was on there, and that's what I was basically just hanging by my ice axe, like over this big drop. And I managed to throw myself
dead if you let go?
Oh, fucked up if I fell, definitely, yeah. And the ice axe is held in by one hand, and I've sort of flicked myself back up over. Sorry, Mum, if you're listening to this, she doesn't know that one. But yeah, that was a bit of an eye opener in New Zealand for me. Definitely, like that was a scary, scary experience. Like I thought I was fucked. Like I thought I was dead. Like, when I slipped, you know. So it definitely gave me a bit more caution to it. But again, that's the nature of the beast as well. Hunting over there, it's like you sort of know the risks that you're going in with as well.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty sketchy experience. That wasn't a time.
I think a lot of people go, when you say sketchy experience, they automatically think of like animal encounters.
Yeah.
But a lot of that crazy ass terrain, I always watch stuff with like bighorn sheep and all that sort of stuff.
It's wild, bro, where they live, bro.
Man, hectic. All that shaly stuff.
Yeah. It's like the steepness of it and just the bluffs and everything, like it's insane. Like New Zealand's one of them places, like you're on the mountain and you're like, this is fucking terrifying. You get off and you're like, I want to get back up there.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those places like you just want more, but it's like your heart is in your throat the whole time when you're up in that steep stuff. Like it's, it's gnarly.
I can imagine, man. It's fucking weird that like big shaggy ass goats are up there.
Yeah.
Bouncing around, standing on like rocks.
And they run around like it's nothing.
Yeah. And they're playing and like all
We actually, when I was hunting with Aiden and James there, we seen a tahr fall off a cliff and tumble to its death.
Oh, right.
Like hundreds of meters, like arse over head tumbling down this cliff face. And yeah, it was kind of like if they fall, we're fucked.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's fucking humbling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd have bailed. That's fucking wild.
Yeah. I still remember I look over at Aiden, he's doing the cross. He's like, did you see that? I was like, yes.
Fuck, that's scary. Oh, man. Yeah, right. I don't think I've got any questions. That was about it. The rest are all just nonsense. Heaps of people carry on. I started the podcast, like the earlier ones were just stupid shit. Like, they weren't like proper stupid. I just used to ask like gun to your head type questions and all sorts of silly nonsense.
Take the piss.
Yeah, and then everyone's still carrying on with it. But I think the podcasts have evolved past that now. Like, I've found like
bit of substance.
Yeah, I found they were always good, and I always want to keep them like a raw. Like, if people don't know, like I don't have any set questions, any script, anything really. I do a little bit of background research to find out what people are into, and then that's it. And then I try and because I like the challenge of trying to fly by the seat of my pants, and I think it makes organic conversation.
I think having that organic conversation is the best, man. Like it just flows, and just having a conversation how it would if there was a microphone rigged up or not. Yeah, that's how it would have went.
Well, I want the people to feel like they're sitting there in that couch, and listening to the yarn.
100%.
Because I feel like there's a crying need for that, especially in this day's society, because of like personalism's gone from everything now. So I don't have any plan, and it just goes through how long it goes for.
How long have we gone for tonight?
3.5.
3.5. I was going to say we're getting there.
Solid, yeah. But yeah, we've hardly covered any hunting topics, which is pretty wild.
That's right.
But they'll get around it. People, we got to like when I do these sort of chats, I get a lot of like positive feedback. Heaps. Very rarely any like negative.
Yeah, it's good
feedback at all. And these normally stream the biggest. Like, I don't know how that is the case because
it's relatable.
But how can you listen to more of it when you haven't heard it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they seem to get more streams, maybe because people, I don't know if the stats are like people listen twice, which is why there's more streams, but I'm not sure. But they always get way more, like nearly double the amount of traction.
We'll see how this one goes anyway. It could be a flop.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be fine.
No, it was a good conversation, man. We covered some pretty cool things. And I think anyone from any walk of life should be able to draw some positivities
100%,
out of this one.
100%. I think it's broadly applicable, and I think for me, like-minded people are hard to come by.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to sort of have. I can't have these conversations that I've had with you with a lot of people and it's not a bad thing, but they're not on the level.
Yeah.
And not that I'm better or worse or anything like that. It's just a different.
Just being able to relate.
Yeah, it's relatable. And I get a lot from these conversations too, like being able to talk to people, because you've got different perspectives to what I do, and I wasn't aware of some of the perspectives that you have, and then that'll like stick with me for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Help me base decisions and shit. I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. It was really good.
It's been good, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I'm sure it won't be the last.
We'll go again.